General Petraeus did change his story. He changed his story. I'm starting with this because I was wrong. I thought he would stick with what he said in his first round. He changed his story. Doesn't matter. And not going to matter a hill of beans, but he changed his story. Hi, my friends. How are you? It's El Rushmo here. It's Friday, and you know what that means?
And now, from sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
Okay, for those of you who are new to the program, Monday through Thursday, callers on this program, when we take them, have to talk about things I care about, and they don't get on. And if they lie or cheat, try to talk about things I don't care about, we politely hang up on them in a way you never hear. You don't know, but they're gone. But on Friday, whatever you want to talk about is okay with me. It doesn't matter whether I care about it or not. Friday is your day. You can define what the program is all about. When we go to the phones, the telephone number is 800-282-2882, and the email address, lrushbo@eibnet.com. Now, Petraeus is claiming that he's saying what he told him in the first briefing, but there's no transcript of that. Everybody is of the belief that Petraeus, in the first briefing, went along with the regime and said that it was a spontaneous protest due to the video. I mean, that's what he said. Now he's saying, no, that's not what I said at first, but there's no transcript. General Petraeus, we have this in Peter King, Congressman New York. General Petraeus is saying that he always thought it was terrorism. Today is the first day, though, that we are learning that he always thought it was terrorism. Let's review the history. Yes, of course. Look, here I'm already being, are you going to talk about Hostess? Yeah, I'm going to talk about Hostess. You know what there is? 18,500 people gone. Hostess, Twinkies, Ding Dongs shut down. Some people might think it's a buy opportunity if you want to get into the Ding Dong business. But if there's ever, folks, if you need an indication that the Democrats will never compromise on anything, take a look at this. The Hostess is going out of business because of unions. Now, it's 18,500 jobs. You think in this economy that somebody might want to show the ability to compromise, if only to fool people. They won't even compromise on this. The unions are the Democrat Party. Trump is at the White House again today. They won't even compromise to save 18,000 jobs. Are you kidding me? Obama couldn't step in here even for the optics of it? I mean, yesterday he saved New York. Today he could save Ding Dongs. He could save Twinkies. Except in the White House, Michelle's probably celebrating. Because this is, just rotten, no good food to her. But see, I think they wanted this, folks. I think they wanted Hostess bye-bye. And you know why? Because it's not unions. No, wait. Take that back. They wanted this to happen because this is just going to create more dependence on unions and the government. It's just going to create more dependence. So this is all fine with Barry. I know nobody understands me. I'm doing this program with a whole different mindset now. I didn't Snurdly's in there panicking. I'm saying mindset. As I do this program, I'm imagining how I'm being heard by all these uneducated, ill-educated, mal-educated young people. And it's fun. And I'm sure that they're throwing daggers at their radio because they just heard me criticize Obama on this Hostess thing. Anyway, it's a fun thing. And it's actually a build-out on some of the things that we were discussing yesterday about the battles that we face really being cultural as well as, if not more than, politics. Anyway, the Hostess thing's what it is. It's gone. We knew it was coming. It just illustrates there's no desire to compromise. When the Democrats lose elections, for example, then nobody ever runs around getting introspective. Gee, you think we ought to become more pro-life? Gee, you think we ought to back off this immigration that we're in favor of? Gee, you think we ought to become more conservative? It never is said. When we lose, I don't have to tell you. And in fact, folks, this was predictable too. The Republicans are establishing the mechanism to cave on tax increases. Some governors are McConnell, we've got the soundbite, ready now to talk about revenues as long as there's talk of spending cuts. But you and I know that there won't be any of those because Obama doesn't have to cut any spending. That's the last thing there's going to be. And so Obama wants $1.6 trillion in new taxes. Now, here's something to think about. How's he going to get that? And he will. This is the thing that we've got to realize. This is going to happen. It may be 1.2, but he is going to get this. And Boehner, we had our note from the chief of staff for the Congress that said that Boehner says let Obama lead and see where it takes us. McConnell says we're fine and dandy on the revenue side now. The Republicans are the ones that always, we lost the election. We're going to have to moderate our tone and our beliefs and all this. So we're on the verge here of watching it. Benghazi too. If there's I hope the Republican Party understands what's at stake for them politically in making sure that there is a single select committee on it. If you have a bunch of different committees looking into it or no committees looking into it, it's going to blow the opportunity. There has to be a single select committee on this. If there is, not just for the political value of it, but because it's the right thing to do to find out what have Ford got Americans. And it is a large scandal. Which, of course, takes us back to finish one thought. How do you get $1.6 trillion in new taxes? Now, the politics of this is quite simple. The Republicans have sworn in every campaign that they're not going to permit a tax increase. The Democrats have said, we're going to raise taxes on the rich. Well, raising taxes on the rich and even getting rid of deductions is not going to get you anywhere near $1.6 trillion. It's not going to get you anywhere near $800 billion, just raising taxes on the rich. So how are they going to do it? My friends, I just want to alert you to a possibility. I'm like the old Hogan's Heroes prison camp guard, Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing. But in thinking about it, how do you get to $1.6 trillion and both parties being able to claim that they were true to their political promises? And there is a way to do it, and it's called the alternative minimum tax, and it's called expanding the alternative minimum tax to practically everybody. The alternative minimum tax will not involve one change in income tax rates. So Obama, for example, will be able to go out and raise the rates, marginal rates on the rich at 39.6. And the Republicans will be able to say that they fought raising marginal rates on the middle class. The rates won't change, but over here is going to be this thing called the alternative minimum tax, which says that everybody's got to pay a minimum of 30%. And a bunch of deductions are gone. They'll probably leave the home mortgage deduction in for cover. Now, and then the cherry on the top is making it retroactive to 2012. Just like Clinton did when he raised taxes in 1993. So if you have an alternative minimum tax that, say, hits 60 million taxpayers, but you haven't changed rates, except on the rich, and you get rid of a bunch of deductions for the rich, why, you're looking at a win-win until people file. And, of course, the economic impact of this would be an abject disaster, taking $1.6 trillion away from people under the guise of reducing the deficit when there is no spending cut anywhere near any of this. There's a patch, as you well know. You people have been caught in the AMT. You know what hell it is. There's a patch that will expire, I think, this year. They'll let that go. I'm just talking off the top of my head here. I'm trying to figure out how could they get this done and within the realm of politics be able to tell their voters that I didn't break any promises. And it's right out there waiting on AMT. And then if you want, put a VAT on top of it. And then, just claim it, well, yeah, we're going to tax the rich even more. We're going to tax every level of consumption. It's going to really hit the rich. And, of course, the Obama-educated voters go, yay! The economic impact of this will be an abject disaster. There's some people have to file an alternative minimum tax, even though it doesn't apply to them. The alternative minimum tax form is a nightmare to have to do it. Talk to your accountant if you have to. Well, if you pay the AMT, if it hits you. But just think about it. I could be all wet here. I'm just thinking how they do this. And I'm doing this, I'm thinking about this because I'm seeing the signs of Republicans giving in on opposing new taxes. At the highest levels, the three governors, including Bob McConnell of Virginia. They're all saying, we're willing to put revenue on the table as long as we get some spending cuts. Well, yeah. And I'm sure that the regime will say, oh, we're spending, we'll certainly look at that. We'll up a couple $100 million off of this and a couple $100 million. And bam, everybody gets, yeah, we cut spending when there really won't be. I can see this. Well, elections have consequence. Now back to Petraeus and back to Benghazi and the Select Committee and why there had better be one. Petraeus is saying, and Peter King from New York, the congressman, is saying that he said it was terrorism from the get-go, that he always thought it was terrorism. He's not really changing his testimony here, which, of course, is curious because all of us, you, me, have been under the belief since September 13th that Petraeus went out and said that it was a video, like everybody else in the regime. Well, let's review some of the histoire. On September 14th, 3 days after the attack at Benghazi, Petraeus told members of Congress that the video was the problem. The video is what caused a protest which led to the attack on the embassy in Benghazi. Today, November 16th, so just a little over a month, and Petraeus is saying, well, it's being said for him that his September the 14th story, he's massaging that now and saying he meant or tried to convey on September 14th that it was terrorism. It was always terrorism. And I suspect the answer here lies in something Bill Kristol said on Fox earlier this week. Bill Kristol reported that, Kristol's a leader to neocons. He knows these guys. Kristol said, excuse me, that somebody told him, Congress or somebody, that he ran into Petraeus at that original hearing, September 14th. So what really happened? Petraeus said, you want the real version or you want our version? And he said, Petraeus said, it's terrorism, there's no question, but we're saying it's the video. I mean, Kristol said something like this on Fox earlier this week. So, therefore, Petraeus could say, Kristol could confirm that it's on record. Oh, yeah, Petraeus said back then that it was terrorism all the way, but he had to say something else. But here's Greta Van Susteren on her blog at Fox says, this is why I don't believe it. If that were true, If on September 14th he told members of Congress that it was the video that was the problem, and then today he's saying he's always thought it was terrorism, if that's true, that he was committed to telling the American people the truth on September 14th, that it was terrorism, it was Al-Qaeda, why did he later correct the false story? Why didn't he correct the false story much before today? Why wait until today? He could have issued a public statement or even made a private call to friends in the media to get but he let it survive for over a month that his interpretation was the video. But if he's now saying, no, it's the first day on the box, it was terrorism. Greta is saying, if that's true, why didn't he later correct the false story before now? He had so much opportunity to correct the record. He had to know what was being said by others in the press and by members of the House and Senate. He could have corrected it publicly or even privately to those who continued this silly story in order to stop them. Why didn't he? If he knows that it was terrorism, here's what she's getting at. If he knows and if he thought it was terrorism and he's watching Susan Rice out there on the 5 TV show say it's the video, and he's watching Obama say it's the video. If he's watching every Democrat say it's the video, why not get a statement of, no, that's not the video? Because the false stories continued after that congressional testimony on the 14th. Susan Rice on September 16th on 5 different shows, it's the video. Obama went on Letterman, it's the video. Obama went on The View, it's the video. Obama at every fundraiser event that he has, it's the video. And there were countless other times where this video story was spread. So Petraeus had lots and lots and lots of chances to stop this story and correct it, and he didn't. And so, why? Well, I don't know what you're yelling at the radio. Rush, he's a CIA director. It works for the regime. He can't go out and undercut the regime. He did today. Yeah, but he's not with the regime now, Rush. The election's over. There's all kinds of reasons. Anyway, let's take a brief time out. We will continue when we get back.
This is the big one. Rush on the EIB network. Welcome to How Gullible Are You? Now, with today's questions, here's your genial host, Rush Limbaugh.
Did you believe Bill Clinton when he said, I did not have sex with that woman, not a single time, ever. I never asked anybody to lie. Did you believe Bill Clinton? Did you believe Bob Torricelli when he denied all the things he had to leave the Senate for? Did you believe David Axelrod when he said Obama and Blagojevich discussed his Senate replacement? Did you believe Obama's Axelrod when he said he misspoke about Obama and Blagojevich having that discussion? Did you believe Jesse Jackson Jr. when he said he met with Blagojevich for 90 minutes and pay to play never came up? When Obama said things will get better, did he mean it? Or did he misspeak?
Now, let's see how you scored with How Gullible Are You?
If you answered yes to all 5, you are a liberal for life, or you are a drive-by journalist. If you answered yes to 2 or 3 of these questions, you are a moderate. And there remains hope for you if you remain a regular attendee at classes here at the Limbaugh Institute. If you answered no to all 5, you are grounded in reality and are thus cursed, because you will be forever hounded, frustrated, and driven to near insanity by the gullible who did pass this test.
Join us next time for How Gullible Are You? This has been an EIB production. Want to lead an environmentally friendly lifestyle, but your SUV and powerboat get in the way? Introducing the EIB Carbon Credit Card. With the EIB Carbon Credit Card, for every dollar you spend on yourself, an equal amount is spent on holistic carbon set-off projects, like planting trees along the border with Mexico, to reforest the Southwest, and create an impassable barrier.
We're lost, amigos. Let's go home.
You could be part of creating kelp farms in the ocean, teaching dolphins to feed penguins, harnessing the rays of the sun to power a windmill. And best of all, the EIB Carbon Credit Card isn't just for people like you. It's also great for governments, too. Go ahead, buy a half-decaf cafe latte and comfort a whale. Buy a sweater and send life-saving ice to a polar bear cub. Or send up the space shuttle and reforest New Mexico. You can save the Earth with the new EIB Carbon Credit Card. Do you suffer from affluenza, an affliction unique to America's high achievers?
Hey, nice car. I don't deserve it. I'm just one of the lucky ones who took out student loans and went to night schools. I worked hard nights and weekends, and then all of a sudden, 20 years later, I'm president of the company.
That's when affluenza strikes.
I'm so ashamed. Gee, I'm sorry.
Fortunately, there is a simple cure for affluenza. Listen to Rush Limbaugh 3 hours a day, every day.
Is there a radio in this car? Why?
And the debilitating symptoms of affluenza will vanish like magic.
I think there's somebody you should listen to.
Listen to Rush Limbaugh every day for fast, effective relief of common affluenza. And continue to listen to prevent reoccurrence. Common side effects include increased alertness, a swelling of the bank account, marked improvement of your golf swing, and a heightened appreciation of fine cigars. Rush Limbaugh, the cure for common affluenza.
I'm reminded by a friend that I asked some questions about this very early on, and I did, and I'm glad to be reminded. I want to ask these questions again. This Benghazi thing in this video. Who came up with that story? Nobody had ever heard of that video. That video was not in the public domain. Well, it was, but it was not being discussed in the public domain. That video was sitting idle in a YouTube library since June. There was nothing in the world that was happening that was said to be caused by that video. Nobody had heard of it. So who found that video? And who came up with the idea of using that video as a means to explain what happened both in Cairo at the embassy there and over in Benghazi? And then after whoever it was found the video and came up with the idea of using the video, then who walked the idea of using the video over to the CIA, to the State Department, the FBI, and the White House, and sold them on the movie idea? Who's behind this? And remember that this poor schlub that did the movie is in jail for a year on a supposedly unrelated charge. This was a cover-up from the first moments of this, and the video was the mechanism, and nobody seems to care how that all happened.
New from Capitol Records, Fritz Hollings.
There's corruption everywhere out there.
And James Carville.
That's right. Corruption at the highest level.
Too much corruption going on out there.
Dueling Bozos.
We all know what's causing it.
Hollings and Carville together for the first time.
So much corruption going on there, and it's even corrupted me.
Singing the only tune they know.
Yeah, everybody's guilty. I mean, come on.
Nothing we can do about it, no matter where we go. We go to breakfast, we go to Wednesday afternoon square dances.
We need to change the law.
I never even knew the word exacerbate until I came to Washington. I went down to that barbecue.
Wasn't that in the Star Report?
Why was LBJ here? Who the hell cares anymore anyway? All I know is that it was corrupt then and it's exacerbating now.
Yeah, all they're out there doing is talking about Buddhist monks.
They found this woman guilty. Guilty of what?
So what are you doing about it?
But what am I doing? I'm trying to pass a constitutional amendment to make sure that nobody can give any money to politicians.
Especially politicians that fly the Confederate flag.
I flew that flag, I flew it proudly.
That the
As far as
person
I'm
who was in
concerned,
charge
George
of
Bush is the one that explained it. That's how out of whack it is. It's so corrupt, so exacerbating that a breach truck had to bring in a pork-flowing barbecue with a bunch of contributors nobody he's never met. Until we get going,
circles that Capitol building from day to day after day.
nothing's going to get
Dueling Bozos. Available wherever this record is sold. A silent epidemic is sweeping the Democratic Party. Bird brain flu. Its symptoms are unmistakable. There's memory loss.
You say you don't support the war in Iraq now, but you voted for it.
I don't remember that.
Double standard vision.
Scooter Libby lied to a grand jury.
You didn't complain when Bill Clinton did it.
Yeah, but that was different.
And delusions.
We won the governor's race in New Jersey and Virginia. America's really behind us. We're going to kick butt in 06.
Wow, I feel better now.
And hysteria.
Global warming is melting the polar ice caps. Baby seals are dying.
Bird brain flu affects liberals in the prime of their lives. But there is a cure. Education. Instead of reading a bumper sticker, try picking up a book. Turn off the liberal media and tune into the Rush Limbaugh program.
I was really stuck on stupid, but I feel better now.
Inoculate yourself against bird brain flu. Listen to the Rush Limbaugh radio program. A public service message from the EIB network. Introducing Barney Frank and the long-anticipated premiere of his new CD, Gay Wedding A Go-Go.
If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your ear.
If you're going to San Francisco with that special somebody, don't forget to take along the wedding album everybody says is just fabulous.
No one will ever vote for us to get married, so we're going to the courtroom instead.
And what same-sex wedding would be complete without this all-time favorite?
If monogamy is the answer, then who's the wedding for? I just saw your lover as he headed out the door. Where is Bob? Where is Bob?
With Gay Wedding A Go-Go, choosing the music will be the easiest decision you two will ever make.
I thought I was going to be the bride.
No, I'm going to be the bride.
Well, I just had my hair done.
But I bought this dress, and you're stepping on it. Get off!
Barney Frank's Gay Wedding A Go-Go. Available everywhere this record is sold.
Okay, folks, welcome back. Rush Limbaugh, as usual. Half my brain tied behind my back just to make it fair. Again, timeline. Bill Kristol, earlier this week, said, quote, somebody told me that General Petraeus on the Hill that day, September the 14th, Director Petraeus, I should say, said privately to one of the members of Congress, this is what happened in Benghazi. Do you want the official line or do you want the real truth? So on September 14th, according to Kristol, Petraeus said to a member of Congress, you want the official line, you want the truth. If Petraeus had told congressmen on September 14th the truth, everybody would have run to the microphones and said the CIA just said that it was a terror attack. You don't think they would have? Of course they would have. We're in the middle of a campaign. If Petraeus had told them that he didn't, he followed the official line. He told them that it was a video. At the time the video was first mentioned as an excuse, it had 200 views on YouTube. That was back in June sometime. Now, why didn't Petraeus object to Al-Qaeda being left out of the talking points? Because there's another bombshell that's happened here. And it comes from Peter King. Here it is this morning in Washington. King spoke to reporters about the closed-door hearing in which Petraeus testified.
He said it went through a long process involving many agencies. including the Department of Justice, including the State Department, and no one knows yet exactly who came up with the final version of the talking points, other than to say the original talking points prepared by the CIA were different from the ones that were finally put out.
Now, let me translate this for you. Peter King comes out of this hearing. He says that Petraeus told them that the CIA talking points meant for Susan Rice's September 16th TV appearances originally contained the information that there was evidence Al-Qaeda elements were involved in the attack. These talking points were then altered through an interagency process, and they were removed. The Al-Qaeda element of the talking points, when you hear talking points, that's the stuff given to Rice and every other regime spokesman. The original talking points that were prepared for Rice, this is a key. The talking point, no, she never got them. The talking points that were prepared for her said it was Al-Qaeda, said it was a terrorist attack. Sometime between September 14th and September 16th, somebody took the Al-Qaeda element out and put the video in. This is why Greta is scratching her head, because Petraeus is saying, I said it was terrorism from the get-go. Well, if you did, then why did Susan Rice go out 2 days later and say it was the video? That's why we need a select committee on this, because this is now all over the ballpark. I mean, this is a bombshell, folks, that the original talking points for Susan Rice to take out there. Look, this goes back to Obama. He admitted it the other day in his press conference. He said the White House sent her out with the best intel we had at the time. No, it wasn't the best intel. The best intel we had at the time was that it was Al-Qaeda, but that was removed. That element was removed. The original talking points were much more specific about Al-Qaeda involvement, and yet the final talking points just said indications of extremists. It said indicate, even though there was clearly evidence at the CIA that there was Al-Qaeda involvement. And we now know that because that's what Petraeus said today. David Petraeus publicly, September 14th, said it was spontaneous combustion protests brought about by a video. Today, David Petraeus said that that was part of the original talking points that Susan Rice was going to take to television. Sometime between September 14th and 16th, they took the Al-Qaeda stuff out. And from September 14th on, it was the video. All the while, Petraeus knew it wasn't, but he didn't say anything. He knew that the talking points had been altered. That's what the bombshell today is. And what we still don't know is who came up with the idea to use this video, who found that video, who took that idea to either Obama or the CIA or the FBI. Somebody said, we're going to cover this up, and I've got the perfect vehicle, this video. I could be redundant. I could repeat this timeline. I feel like I should because I'm not sure people get this. I'm not sure people get anything anymore, to tell you the truth, but this is bombshell stuff. The original talking points for Susan Rice, she was going to be sent out there to say it was Al-Qaeda, and somebody stopped it, changed it, took that out, sent her out there with the story of the video. Petraeus knew it was never a video from the first day. He admits that today. And I know a lot of people say, well, my gosh, Russia, if we can't count on Petraeus, who can we count on? Exactly. When asked by a reporter if Petraeus knew why the talking points were changed, King said they just said it goes through a process, an interagency process. And when they came back, it had been taken out. So what we're going to believe is the original talking points, the explanation for what happened, Al-Qaeda, terror attack, Benghazi. Then they send that stuff to all the different agencies, Department of Justice, Department of State. Hell, they probably sent to FEMA for all we know. And it comes back, and Al-Qaeda's taken out when it gets back. So somewhere in this circuitous route, where all these agencies get sign off on it, it gets taken out somewhere. And when time she hits TV on September 16th, it's the video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we now know that in their final format, the talking points in question focused exclusively on the false idea that the 9/11 anniversary attack was motivated by a video. That is a false claim, and that was the final format of the talking points. Here's more from King, his remarks after the Petraeus testimony this morning.
His testimony today was that from the start, he had told us that this was a terrorist attack, or there were terrorists involved from the start. I told him my questions had a very different recollection of that. The clear impression we were given was that the overwhelming amount of evidence was that it was arose out of a spontaneous demonstration and was not a terrorist attack.
See, they're saying that Petraeus said all along it was a terror attack. No, he didn't all along say it was a terror attack. All along, Petraeus is saying it's the video. Petraeus testified today behind closed doors that all along he said it's a video. Or terrorism. Here's more King. Here he says that there were many streams of intel, but that Petraeus now maintains terrorism all along.
No, he was saying that there were many streams of intelligence, but he also stated that he thought all along, he made it clear, that there was significant terrorist involvement. And that is not my recollection of what he told us on September 14th.
Boy, he's really soft pedaling this. This is something to be shouting and pounding the podium. But he stated that he told us all along that it was terrorism, and that's not my recollection of what he told us on September 14th. That's because he didn't tell you that on September. On September 14th, he was telling you what the regime wanted out there, that it was a video. We all know that they were saying it was a video. That's the whole point here, when they knew it wasn't. That's the whole point. Everybody describing this as a spontaneous attack was lying about it. They were covering something up. And the truth be told, we still don't know what. We don't know what is being covered up here. Here's Saxby Chambliss, Republican senator from Georgia. This is last night, Fox News special report, Chris Wallace. What can you tell us about what you learned about Benghazi?
It was very clear, Chris, from day one, this was a terrorist attack. I mean, it's just so obvious it'd be so obvious to any inexperienced individual that this was purely a terrorist attack. Secondly, I think what we learned is that it's not very likely that the intelligence community is going to put out any unclassified talking points anytime in the near future.
Well, so what? Again, and then Wallace said, after what you heard today, Senator, and this is yesterday, there's an update on this, but I want you to hear this anyway. After what you heard today, Senator, do you come away thinking that what Susan Rice told the American people that Sunday was in good faith based on CIA talking points, which may have been mistaken? Whereas I say in good faith, or do you think that politics may have played? In other words, you think she's lying, or do you think she went out there not knowing the truth and was and telling people what she really thought happened?
What I heard today hasn't changed my mind about what Susan Rice said. What Susan Rice said was exactly what President Obama told her to say. That's what he said yesterday. His taking a shot at Senator McCain and Senator Graham was simply uncalled for. And if he says, come after me, then by golly, is he going to shoulder the responsibility? Because it looks like they were about ready to throw her under the bus. So it hasn't changed anything from my perspective as to what she said. She was saying exactly what the political shop at the White House told her to say.
Exactly, and they're not going to throw her under the bus. They're trying to build her up and make her the Secretary of State. By the way, there's a soundbite coming up later, but I'll interject it here. And we're drawing an inference ourselves. It's a soundbite of Senator McCain. And I don't know mean, I'd play it for it. I don't know what the number is. I don't have time to find it, but we'll get to it. But the interesting thing about it is that if you hear it right, it could well be that the reason McCain, I almost am afraid to say this for fear of what your reaction is going to be. One of the theories that explains why McCain is really dumping on Susan Rice is, are you ready for it? Senator McCain wants his good friend John Kerry to get Secretary of State. Well, you be the judge when we get to that. Here's number 8, I'm told. Let's listen to it. This is last night, Your World with Neil Cavuto. And Cavuto said, what would you do if Susan Rice is picked for Secretary of State?
Clearly, right now, I would be opposed because the American people were told false information by her at the direction of the White House.
What would you think if the pick was Senator John Kerry?
We'd obviously want to advise and consent. Senator John Kerry did come within a whisker of being President of the United States, as you know. I've known him for many years. I haven't agreed with him on a number of issues, but, you know, as you and I are constantly reminded, I'm not the president. So I do give some latitude to the President of the United States.
Now, maybe I'm too cynical. I don't know. I'm probably not. Look, I will admit that at times like this, I can get cynical, but, and he was asked about Kerry. He didn't bring Kerry up. But he didn't shoot down the idea of John Kerry being a better Secretary of State than Susan Rice. He didn't at all. Got to take a break. Coming back. Don't go away.
Get the digital edition of the Limbaugh Letter on your phone free for a limited time. Sign up today at rushlimbaugh.com. You're listening to the EIB Network. 8 years after going to work for then-Governor George W. Bush, 6 years after he started working at the White House, and 2 years after being out of work with no prospect of employment, Scott McClellan now says he felt compelled to speak out for the first time in his new book, Whatever Happened to Scott McClellan.
I just remembered that things were really bad at the White House, and I think speaking out can make a difference.
This red-hot blockbuster is full of secret personal insights from Scott, like
we need to move beyond the bitter partisanship of Washington politics and just roll over.
Find out what was really going on with Karl Rove and Scooter Libby.
I was kept out of the loop by Karl and Scooter, who went behind closed doors to laugh at me behind my back.
Discover who was really behind the CIA leak.
Richard Armitage? No, I've never heard of him.
Critics are raving about Whatever Happened to Scott McClellan. I couldn't have written it better myself, says Anita Hill. So believable. I sent one to my pastor, says Barack Obama. And George Soros says,
forget MoveOn.org. This is the best money I've ever invested.
Whatever Happened to Scott McClellan? From Lefty Press and bookstores today, in flea markets tomorrow. New from Capitol Records, Fritz Hollings.
There's corruption everywhere out there.
And James Carville.
That's right. Corruption at the highest level.
Too much corrupting going on out there.
Dueling Bozos.
We all know what's causing it.
Hollings and Carville together for the first time.
So much corrupting going on out there, and it's even corrupted me.
Singing the only tune they know.
Yeah, everybody's guilty. I mean, come on.
Nothing we can do about it, no matter where we go. We go to breakfast, we go to Wednesday afternoon square dances.
We need to change the law.
I never even knew the word exacerbate until I came to Washington. I went down to that barbecue.
Wasn't that in the Star Report?
Why was LBJ here? Who the hell cares anymore anyway? All I know is that it was corrupt then and it's exacerbating now.
Yeah, all they're out there doing is talking about Buddhist monks.
They found this woman guilty. Guilty of what?
So what are you doing about it?
Well, what am I doing? I'm trying to pass a constitutional amendment to make sure that nobody can give any money to politicians.
Especially politicians that fly the confetti flag.
I flew that flag. I flew it proudly.
That the
as far as I'm concerned, George Bush is the one who's got to explain it. That's how out of whack it is. It's so corrupt, so exacerbating that a breach truck had to bring in a pork-flowing barbecue with a bunch of contributors nobody he's ever met. until we get gold.
Suckers act capability from day to day, day after day.
Nothing's gonna get
Dueling Bozos. Available wherever this record is sold. What better gift for the liberal on your...
Okay, ABC News. Just to illustrate here that Petraeus could have a little wiggle room here. On September the 14th, ABC News reported the following. CIA chief says the attack that killed 4 Americans began as a spontaneous protest against the film The Innocence of Muslims, but Islamic militants who may have links to Al-Qaeda used that opportunity to launch an attack. That's what Petraeus told the committee. That it was a spontaneous combustion protest in the video, but then Al-Qaeda saw that, and Al-Qaeda said, wow, we got an opportunity here. So he's covered on both sides of it, but it's still blaming the protest on the video. But if you go back and look at what ABC is reporting, Petraeus did mention terrorists, but only insofar as exploiting. It's still a lie. It's still a lie. And they still sent Susan Rice out to lie about the video. And by the way, this interagency jazz, the White House coordinates that. The White House determines who gets to see the talking points and vet them. This is all Obama. This all is from the Oval Office. What Susan Rice said on TV, and he admitted as much. There's not any interagency debate over this. No, I don't think that ought to be in there. There might have been some of that, but Obama's the ultimate decider on what's in or out. Now, there's another Republican, a Congressman, Ruppersberger. He's saying that Petraeus told him that it was a 3-hour spontaneous protest over the video. That was then, and this again, September 14th. Not today, September 14th, Ruppersberger, Republican Congressman, California, I think, said that Petraeus told him it was a 3-hour spontaneous protest over the video that Al-Qaeda then exploited. And that's why Petraeus, I always knew it was terrorism, but he didn't. This is beneath everybody. They're playing us for fools. And a whole bunch of other things, insulting our intelligence daily. Everybody knows what happened. There's a big cover-up. The video was not part of this, and everybody's in a CYA mode now. And by the way, as I mentioned yesterday, a dozen women, members of Congress, House Representatives, have launched a defense of Susan Rice by saying she's being attacked by a bunch of white guys. And folks, this is how the Democrats shut this stuff down. The McCain, Lindsey Graham, Saxby Chambliss, all these people out now questioning Susan Rice. They're just a bunch of racist, old white guys. A majority of these women in the House are African American. They lashed out at McCain and Graham. This is an AP story, by the way, demanding that they retract their criticism of her. They're demanding that McCain and Graham and Chambliss, all these, retract their to batter this woman and to batter Obama is something we, the women, are not going to stand by and watch. They're accusing the Republicans of simply engaging in racism. Well, that's how they shut this stuff down. And that's how they get away with it. That's how they discredit the criticism. In this case, legitimate, genuine criticism over lying and a cover-up. No, there's none of that going on. This is just typical Republican racism, pure and simple.
America's Anchorman, Rush, on the EIB Network. Now, continuing coverage on the countdown to disaster. As the clock runs out on the nation's debt ceiling limit, President Obama speaks again.
My fellow Americans, in just a few days, the United States government will run out of money, which is driving the Asian markets crazy.
You cut spending, grow economy, pay back debt.
See what I mean? Crazy. Checks to our seniors, our soldiers, and the unemployed are all in jeopardy because I will spend what little money we have left on green jobs and other important initiatives that we have.
Shut up. Make plan. Pay debt.
A plan?
You are ineffective.
I did get those apples in the Happy Meals.
Stay tuned for continuing coverage on the Countdown to Disaster. Be an army of at least one. By volunteering for duty as a DNC seminar caller, you'll receive advanced basic training from our sensitive, caring professionals.
What's your number, soldier?
1-800-282-2885?
How you gonna make it past the call screen if you don't know the number? Drop and give me 20 on the rotary dial. The rest of you, repeat after me. I love your show, and I always agree with you. And I voted for Bush.
And you'll earn promotions and medals.
Son, we're very proud of you. What's that medal for? This one's for touch tone. This is for getting past the call screener, and this big one here is for actually talking to the host and flawlessly saying, I love your show, I always agree with you, and I voted for Bush.
Be on radio and say what we want you to say. All scripts provided by the Democratic National Committee. Help us take back our monopoly on public opinion. Volunteers especially needed from noon to 3 Eastern. Now, an urgent global warming message from Albert Gore Jr.
The more we study global warming, the more we learn. Take cow flatulence, for instance. Recent studies have shown that the abundance of gas from cow flatulence is more dangerous than automobile emissions. So right here on my Tennessee farm, we're studying new holistic farming methods to reduce cow flatulence. We've already stopped the emission of gas from Gertrude here by using nothing but natural cork. Then, we've gently massaged her to reduce stress and anxiety, the root causes of cow flatulence. Now, we'll apply acupuncture to... Oh, darn. Lost another one. Well, science is a continual learning process. Can somebody get me a handy wipe? Make that 2.
Okay, that's that. When we get back, the economy, taxes, tax increases, $1.6 trillion in tax increases, and how can they make that happen and stay within their political promises? Both parties. We'll explain it. Don't go away.
Attention Newsweek readers, there's never been a better time to receive or renew your subscription to Newsweek.
Wow, I haven't read that liberal rag in years.
What if we told you about our new amazing subscription offer that not only guarantees you'll have an entire year of Newsweek delivered right to your door, but it also makes you a publishing magnate.
Okay, I'm game.
For only $19.99, you'll receive an entire year of the slightly slanted news coverage, opinion, and interviews you'd expect from Newsweek.
I'm not sold yet.
And by checking our special Buy the Magazine box on the bottom of your subscription card, we'll give you the entire magazine for only $1.
Yeah, I'm getting a year's worth of the magazine.
No, you're taking the entire Newsweek operation, staff, printing press, and our debt.
Newsweek, huh? Hey, you got a deal on Playboy?
For this amazing Newsweek offer, call 1-800-BROKE-RAG. That's 1-800-BROKE-RAG. Newsweek, another failed institution of the liberal media.
Stay forever.
I'm so in love with me. Wherever we go, it's free. That's alright with me. You get to fly your plane too. Vacations with all the the finest food. Oh, baby, let's stay here forever. I'm leaving here never, never. If times are good or bad, happy or sad. If times are good or bad, happy or sad, I'm saying what? But if people never wake up and Republicans just break up, that's what I need. Axelrod, he could do that for me. David, 2 times or maybe 23. Let's stay here forever. I'm leaving here never, never. If times are good or bad, happy or sad. Let's stay here forever.
What's faster than a golf cart and more convenient than a bicycle? The all-new Chevrolet Volt from Government Motors.
The Chevrolet Volt is the game changer that America's been waiting for a huge subsidy to buy. Its unique green technology makes it able to go up to 40 miles on a single charge. You'll feel great about your contribution to the environment every time you plug it in and wait to go to the mall, wait to go to work, and wait to go back home. And with Fannie Mae financing, you don't have to qualify for a loan or pay it back if you don't want to. So buy yours today before we find out you didn't.
The Chevrolet Volt, the new people's car from Government Motors. 40-mile range estimated based on downhill test only without air conditioning. Extension cord, D-cell batteries, duct tape, and rubber bands not included. $7,500 subsidy may be taxed as income if we feel like it.
When I was 14, I had our band name tattooed on my forehead, but I didn't know how to spell maroon. I felt like such an outcast until the Liberty Tattoo Removal Program.
People with tattoos often find themselves being unfairly stereotyped, making it difficult to find employment or to move up in life. But why pay for costly tattoo removal when you can participate in the Liberty Tattoo Removal Program?
Lisa and I were really in love. You know, the forever kind. So I had her name tattooed on my behind. Then there was Cindy, Barbara, Kathy Jo, Joanne, Judy, and a lot of others. Now, thanks to the Liberty Tattoo Removal Program, Tammy here won't be jealous anymore.
That's candy.
Right.
No, thanks to Representative Lois Capps, you can change your life for absolutely nothing.
Now that I have a brighter future, I'm going to start brushing my teeth.
Your tax dollars at work with the federally funded Liberty Tattoo Removal Program. Let's face it, sometimes we get gifts we just can't use, or we just don't like.
Oh, a Chia Pet. Thanks.
Well, that's not a problem anymore, because now there's a Thanks Anyway store near you. At Thanks Anyway, we'll take that gift, repackage it, and give it back to you, so you can give it to someone else.
I don't even need to shop for wedding gifts this year. With Thanks Anyway, I can do all my shopping right at home.
At Thanks Anyway, even monogram gifts are no problem. We can change them, so no one will know the difference.
How sweet. You got us a set of dish towels, just like the ones we got you for your wedding.
Thanks Anyway stores.
At Thanks Anyway, we can even recycle those old Valentine's Day cards.
What's this? Whiteout?
You'll never have to buy another gift thanks to Thanks Anyway stores, where gifts just keep on giving.
Thanks Anyway stores.
Okay, folks, so where are we today? Here it is, November the 16th, 2012. Where are we today? I can sum it up for you very simply. Al-Qaeda is alive. Twinkies are dead.
And now, from sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday!
I defy anybody to challenge me on that. Al-Qaeda's alive and kicking. Twinkies is dead. And they're joking about it in the media. ABC, Stephanopoulos, they're making jokes about all this. That host is they're making fun of Twinkies and ding-dongs, and they're passing Twinkies out to each other and say, here, don't eat it now. You can eat it 12 years from now. It'll still be good, all those preservatives in it. They're making fun of it. Al-Qaeda alive and kicking. Twinkies are dead. Ding-dongs are dead. And so are the people that work there. Their jobs are dead. Think about it. If Obama had gotten his way, we would to this day think that those 4 Americans were killed because of a video. If he had gotten his way. Greetings and welcome back. Open Line Friday. El Rushmo here at 800-282-2882. And we got a lot of great calls lined up, and I want to get to them quickly here. I just read another op-ed ripping Romney to shreds. You know, Romney's out there saying that Obama really had a great bribery operation going. And Bobby Jindal just went nuts when Romney said that. In fact, here, let me grab this. Let me find them. We get it's 13. That's right. Let's do 13, 14, and 15 to start, and there may be a couple others. This is Romney Wednesday conference call, campaign donors.
It's a proven political strategy, which is give a bunch of money from the government to a group, and guess what? They'll vote for you. Let me tell you what I would do if I were a Democrat running 4 years from now. I'd say, you know what? Dental care ought to be included in Obamacare. Immigration we can solve, but the giving away free stuff is a hard thing to compete with.
Okay. I mean, Santa Claus. It is. Apparently, it is dire. Romney saying this. Apparently, this is a big problem for the Republican Party. We're not supposed to look at people this way. That's not what... People are just insecure. It's a bad economy. And if somebody's promising them security or workers, they can't find jobs. They're not takers and so forth. We're never going to win anything if we look at people that way. Grab Baraka Claus is coming to town. We got to put that in here because my whole Santa Claus theory obviously now under attack by other Republicans. I don't know how long this will last, so here it is.
Baraka Claus is coming to town. Baraka Claus is coming to town. You better not work. You better not try. Get your hand out, I'm telling you why. Baraka Claus is coming to town. Baraka Claus is coming to town. Baraka Claus is coming to town. If you're a success, I'm taxing you twice. Gonna reverse who's naughty and nice. Hey, Baraka Claus is coming to town. Baraka Claus is coming to town. Baraka Claus is coming to town. I'll pay you just for sleeping. Don't work, stay home and play. You will care if you're bad or good, 'cause if you're bad, you get more cake. So, Republicans, watch out. I'm looking real fly. Media shouts, we elected our guy. Hey, Baraka Claus is coming to town. Baraka Claus is coming to town. Baraka Claus is coming to town. The market's going down. Why do you have a frown?
Yeah, and I'm telling you, folks, fires are breaking out all over the Republican Party. Bobby Jindal, I think Peggy Noonan, J-Pod, John Podhoretz are talking about it's such a shame. Romney ran such a great campaign, had such a great concession speech, and now he's just imploding. One of my first takes the night of the election returns coming, it's hard to beat Santa Claus. But I mean, they are really, they're jumping all over Romney. I thought that it was well known by everybody that the welfare state establishment votes Democrat. Apparently, that's not true. Even if it is true, the Republican Party doesn't want to be known as thinking it. Because it's dividing America. It's dividing America into makers and takers, and that's not what America is. And the Republican Party's never going to get anywhere if it divides a country into makers and takers. And Romney's 47% comment proof. I'm going to tell you, Republicans, something. If there's something, if you want to really get to the bottom of why Romney lost, I'm going to tell you what I think the most telltale reason is. And when I saw this in the exit polls, I'm a powerful, influential member of the media. I got them. I got that first wave at 5:00:30, 30 seconds after 5 o'clock. And it didn't take me another 30 seconds to find that over 50% of voters still blame George Bush for the economy. If you want to know why Mitt Romney lost, if you're looking for one reason here or one reason there, you people in the Republican Party had better understand that is your number one reason. And if you don't want to concede that it's number one, it's definitely in the top three. 4 years into an absolutely disastrous economy, exacerbated and made worse specifically by policies implemented by Barack Obama. Nobody has spent money like he did. The 2010 elections indicate this. We just didn't get that turnout. Barack Obama totally escaped blame among enough voters. You Republicans running around trying to figure out why the economy, for the first time in history, did not mean anything in an election, better realize it did. And your party got blamed for it. And you better start asking yourself why. The single most destructive force in my lifetime in this economy escaped any blame, and that would be Obama. We figured, how in the world can Romney be hit by this? He had nothing to do with any of these policies, and yet he was blamed. That's what happens. When Bush is blamed, Romney, the current candidate, is not going to get votes. You Republicans had better figure out why, after 4 years of this mess that included Obamacare, stimulus, real life pain, home values underwater, no improvement whatsoever in the economy. I don't care what anybody said. In real life, there was no improvement in wages, gas prices going way up, and a previous president gets blamed for it. You better be able to explain to yourselves how that happened, because there's a reason. There's a reason. You didn't defend yourselves. You didn't fight back against the lies. The Bush economy was not a disaster. The Obama economy was the disaster. Bush came out of 2 recessions. The Bush tax rates, the Republicans still won't speak up for them. The Bush tax rates enabled a really robust, we had 4.7% unemployment due much of the Bush economy. People don't know it because for every day 6 years, the media was saying we're in a recession, or we're heading to a recession, or the poor, and yet Katrina on top of it. The media was trying to convince people in this country for 6 years, while we had 4.7% unemployment, that we're in the middle of a recession, or that we're at the beginning of one. Or the economy stinks, it's horrible. And because of whatever thinking that existed from the White House on down, none of those charges were ever answered. They were never defended against. They were never spoke. The Republican Party didn't have the guts to speak up for its own economy, didn't speak up for its own ideas. Act embarrassed of them. You get mad at Mitt Romney all you want for running around and talking about how Obama bribed some voters. And you can try to make yourselves feel better that that's why you lost, because Romney divided. That's not what happened. I can't. When I saw that in the exit polls, I sent it out to my friends immediately. I said, this is either utter BS, meaning the poll is full of it, or we have really lost the country. And by that I meant if the Democrats can get away after 4 years of rampant economic destruction, blaming it on their predecessor. Remember how we're laughing every day at Obama blaming it on his predecessor? And everybody's saying, grow up, man. Accept responsibility. Because we're thinking, nobody's going to buy this. Well, guess what? Well, over 50% did buy that it was still Bush's economy, and they all voted for Obama. Now, you guys in the Republican Party, you consultant class, you can sit out there all day long and beat up on Romney all you want for this post-election comment. Romney, by the way, wasn't even talking this way during the campaign. But he did say it to that conference call to reporters and donors. I guess it was his donors. It's a proven political strategy. You give a bunch of money from the government to a group, and guess what? They'll vote for. Did somebody tell me that's not true? Why do people vote for the Democrat Party? Why? They believe in liberalism? Okay, what's that? Big government. What's big government do? Takes money away from people and gives it away to others. Redistribution is policy. What is that? What is promising people cradle to grave whatever they need? The Julia commercial. What is that? The Obama phone lady. I'll tell you a little secret. The Obama phone plan began under Bush. Do you know that? You think that lady in Cleveland ran a Obama phone? Even if you could convince her that she's got a phone because George Bush came up with the plan, wouldn't matter. She's still going to vote for Obama because she's never really going to believe that a mean-spirited Republican can give her anything. What do you mean? You remember the first town hall Obama did, or one of the first in Tampa, where a woman shows up and asks for a kitchen and a new car? To the defensive, scaredy cat nature of the Republicans sometimes amazes me. First, I don't understand how saying this is dividing the country. The country already is divided. I don't understand the panic here. But if it's not the case, if Romney's wrong, I want to hear how you're going to go get these people to vote Democrat. Well, we're going to talk about conservatism and entrepreneurism, and we're going to talk about the ideals and principles. I love that. I love that. I just don't hear it done. I hear it theorized, but I don't see it. I don't see Republicans running around talking about the stuff that Reagan did. Well, I don't. Certainly in there laughing at me, but I hear all these platitudinous things that we gonna say that everybody reacts, and I know they do react positively to it. I just don't know any Republican who talks about it much. I just think that this is this defensive nature is just purposely, you're going to perpetually anger people. They're never going to vote for us. They're not. The ones that aren't voting for us now, is that the ones you're afraid never going to vote for us? I'm telling you, folks, the real problem here is that the sitting president, the architect of the current economic disaster, the demise of this nation's free market, the attack on capitalism, just got away with it with nobody blaming him for it. Blaming a Republican for this economy. There's a reason. There's a reason that happened. And it's not just that the Democrats and the media were saying it every day. It's that nobody argued with them about it. We just sat around and said, nobody's going to believe that. Everybody's going to say, come on, Barack, grow up, accept responsibility. They think Obama's really trying hard. I think he's rolled his sleeves up. He's working so hard. He's doing everything. He's had commissions and meetings, and he's gone out and met people, and he's doing everything he can. He just can't overcome the mess that Bush made. I have to take a break. We'll come back, and your phone calls are next, as promised.
Get the most outrageous Obama parodies ever on Paul Shanklin's new hilarious CD, You Didn't Build That. Available only at paulshanklin.com. That's Paul, SHANKLIN.com.
Hey, he didn't build that!
You're listening to the EIB Network. According to a leading authority, when presented with a problem, 95% of Americans sit on their hands while only 5% do something about it.
I thought we'd get a couple of things on the way to the party.
Yeah, grab a shopping cart.
Oh, it's stuck. I guess we'll just have to carry everything.
Well, let me try. There, see?
Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution.
Boy, I'm thirsty. You want a soda?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, it didn't take my $1. Well, that's okay. I can wait.
Well, try it again, like this. There you go.
If you have a friend that gives up too soon, you know what to do.
You know, I haven't seen Bob, and it didn't start. Maybe we should call Mother.
Hey, you give up too easy. Give her another try. Why don't we listen to Rush on the way?
Who's Rush?
A guy you really gotta get to know.
Listen to Rush on the EIB Network.
I rode with my kid in the front seat to soccer practice. Does that make me a bad parent?
Yes, it does. And you would have known if you read Bad Living magazine.
There's a new study that shows people who eat red meat from cows that inhaled secondhand smoke are 3% more likely to get sick than people who don't. Should I be scared?
Yes, and that's the point of Bad Living. When you subscribe to Bad Living, you'll be reminded of all the ways you put yourself and those around you in danger every day.
I didn't even realize that my SUV was endangering other drivers and destroying the ozone hole and increasing our chances of getting hit by a giant asteroid. But since I subscribe to Bad Living, I'm afraid of almost everything, and I want everyone around me to be too.
Call now and receive the bonus pamphlet, The Top 1,500 Things You Should Be Terrified About.
I called, and I'm glad I did. The first issue told me how to get rid of all the sharp objects in my home.
Call 1-800-PARANOID and receive our latest issue of Bad Living magazine, featuring 10 reasons you should be afraid to leave your home.
Thanks, Bad Living.
New at Club Gitmo, life skills training. So you can thrive on the outside when you leave our tropical retreat from Jihad.
I love my life skills training classes. When I first came to Club Gitmo, they just asked me a lot of personal questions. Now I ask the questions in class.
You'll learn all about personal finance, computer skills, how to read a wiring diagram, and improve your English to make you a lot less suspicious.
My favorite teacher is Mr. Shabazz. He has taught me to hate America even more than I thought possible. The only good cracker is a dead cracker. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Life skills training, now at Club Gitmo, your tropical retreat from Jihad.
What about a whole wheat cracker?
Hate all the crackers.
Fight the power.
Ladies and gentlemen, a message to all.
The New Orleans Times-Picayune just published an editorial, Governor Jindal ignoring his people's needs. Governor Jindal is one of the Republican governors that has said they're not going to set up one of Obama's health care exchanges. And here's the lead sentence of the New Orleans Times-Picayune editorial. With every decision Governor Jindal makes, the message becomes clearer to hundreds of thousands of Louisiana residents who are uninsured. The state has no interest in helping you. Now, what does that mean? Somebody tell me what that means. The New Orleans Times-Picayune is accusing Jindal of not doing something. What is it? giving people stuff. With every decision Governor Jindal makes, the message has become clearer to hundreds of thousands of Louisiana residents who are uninsured. The state has no interest in helping you. Jindal has no interest in helping you. If you're uninsured, what does that mean? It means Jindal isn't going to give you anything. It also means that a Democrat would. But we can't apparently say that, because that's going to drive voters away. They're going after Governor Jindal, who we love here. Don't misunderstand any of this. I think Jindal is a great future Republican leader. He's a great future in the Republican Party. But they're going after him because he hadn't set up an Obamacare exchange in Louisiana. And he's resisting expanding Medicaid because he understands we don't have the money for any of this. He understands it. We don't have the money. And yet there's the paper, the libs, the media, all clamoring for what? Stuff. The implication's clear. The Democrats will give it to me. But we can't. No. That's not what people vote for Democrats for. Rush, don't want to say that. Romney's full of it. I swear. It's blockheadedness on our side's worse than I thought. Here's Tom in Dexter, Michigan. Tom, glad you held on. Welcome to the program, sir.
Glad to be here. You earlier talked about the tax increases that are coming. The impending tax rate increases will not translate into increased revenue for the government because we're on the wrong side of the Laffer curve.
Oh, I never said. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm not arguing with you, but it will at first.
A little bit.
I mean, there's
a sweet spot in there.
There's going to be a huge transfer of money from the private sector to public sector to be able to show it. But the point is, over the not so very long term, it's going to shut down economic activity. And ultimately, you're right, it is going to cost the government money. But Obama doesn't care about that. If he cared about that, we wouldn't have had the last 4 years. He doesn't. The Obama tax plan, I'm glad you mentioned this. Now, the Obama tax plan's not about raising revenue. It's not about reducing the deficit. He says it is, but it's not about that because it won't do that. It's going to fundamentally change the relationship of citizen to state. It's going to fundamentally remove capitalism as the U.S. primary economic system. All it's going to do is grow government, and we're going to implode. We can't, at some point, sustain any of this, and that's not far down the road.
Yeah, and a nod to Hostess, the government eventually is going to have a half a box of Twinkies, as opposed to having 20% of a truckload of Twinkies, because that's where they're at on the Laffer curve.
Well, even about that's again, here you 18,500 people losing their jobs. It's a union struggle. If anybody thinks the Democrats are willing to compromise about anything, here's the perfect chance for them to come in a compromise, do a good thing. No way. Not interested in compromise, folks.
Now, something new yet familiar to everyone. It's Ron Artest.
Hey, yo, fool. Stop with the old school rap and bust it with the now. You gotta do representing for me, Ron Artest.
Word up to all peeps, some fresh tracks been laying down.
What up? This Ron Artest, busting out with the soft with some old school oldies with a fresh twist. Ain't no suspension long enough. There ain't no fines that are big enough. Ain't no jail term long enough to keep me from beating on you.
And I really mean hits.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Gonna find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. You better not be dissing me, yo.
Spreading the love.
Peeps all over the world join hands, make a love train or beat your brain.
True warrior even does Streisand.
Peeps who beat other peeps are the happiest peeps in the world.
Ron Artest does the oldies with a fresh twist and a clenched fist.
He's a jolly good felon, and I'm a jolly good felon. We are jolly good felons, and if you don't agree, you'll die.
Getting real.
Baby, 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 where did my pay go? Endorsements done left me now. I need me a new loan, you know?
Ron Artest, oldies with a fresh twist. From Concussion Records.
Yeah, we put the con back in concussion.
Available at NBA games and bail bondsmen everywhere.
True that.
And now, the President of the United States on the Keystone Pipeline.
My fellow Americans and environmentalists, today I have decided to deny permission to build the Keystone Pipeline because it would have linked one of the largest known oil reserves directly to our country. Now, my own Jobs Council said that continuing to deliver inexpensive and reliable energy is going to require the United States to optimize all of its natural resources and construct pathways to deliver electricity and fuel. But how else will we ever end our dependence on oil if we still have some? Just when my administration had gasoline prices approaching those of Europe, Republicans came up with the bright idea of piping in more of the oily grease stuff to sabotage me. You know, sometimes my children want things that ultimately won't be good for them either. And these high-paying jobs that Republicans want are not the right kind of jobs that we need right now in our economy. I remain committed to focusing like a laser on finding another 20,000 jobs, somewhere.
Now, Albert Gore Jr. with one more way you can save the planet.
Instead of driving, try riding your bicycle to work and simplify your life. If only 1 in 5 Americans did this, we would save 196 billion barrels of oil every day. Ride a bike created from recycled metal from a manufacturer that uses at least 50% solar or wind power. Instead of air, try filling your tires with CO2 by blowing them up with your lips, like a balloon, trapping this dangerous greenhouse gas. Don't forget to reduce your use of harmful plastics by going seatless. You'll be surprised at the results of taking plastic out of your carbon footprint. Be sure and wear proper earth-friendly attire. Create your own hand-knitted shorts from discarded dryer lint, gathered from the dumpster behind your local washateria. Create nifty sandals from newspaper and rubber bands and twist ties and pieces of string that you find along.
You're over time. We need to cut.
We can't cut it anymore. I won't have time to tell them how to simplify their life.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, are you aware that the regime has moved the dates that the states must be in compliance setting up an Obamacare healthcare exchange? The date was today. You had to have it set up today. If you didn't have it set up today, there wasn't going to be an exchange in your state. And that's not good. Well, it would be good, actually, but for Obama, it wouldn't be good because the health care law does not allow the state or the federal government to run the exchange. The states have to. They haven't changed it yet. It was an error. But guess what Obama did? He moved the date. And in some cases, it's all the way to February. Now, when I first saw that, I said, wonder why. I got my answer today in the New Orleans Times-Picayune editorial of Bobby Jindal. Very smart move by Obama. You move the date, allowing the media to trash all of these governors. There are a lot of Republican governors who have said, Scott Walker's one of Wisconsin, not going to be a federal health care exchange in this state. Look, the governors are the last line of defense now. The states are the last, they're the firewall. So the New York Times editorial on Jindal is the template. The media is going to be jumping all over these governors from now until February, accusing them of being heartless, no compassion, not even caring whether people have health care or not. In fact, it'll be worse than that. Remember the line from the New Orleans Times-Picayune editorial at Jindal. With every decision Jindal makes, the message becomes clearer to hundreds of thousands of Louisiana residents who are uninsured. The state has no interest in helping you. Well, Shazam. By the time Obama and his media buddies are finished, every Republican governor will be accused of having no interest in seeing to it that you have health insurance. That's right. And I want you Republican consultants tell me what you're going to do about this. I want to know, you're going to keep bitching at Mitt Romney? You're going to keep claiming that Romney goofed up here, goofed up there. Meanwhile, the same old attack is going to happen. Republicans are heartless, mean-spirited, extremist, and in states with largely black populations, racist. Don't want you to have health care. Don't want you to get health treatment, medical treatment. Get ready. This New Orleans Times editorial is the template for what's going to happen. And that's why the regime moved the deadline back, to give the media months to trash these Republican governors. And Dick Trumka, Richard Trumka, the AFL-CIO guy, you know what he's saying about Twinkies? Blaming Bain Capital. Yeah, it's exactly right. The Bain Capital attack is back. And it's being used against Hostess brands who make Twinkies, Wonder Bread, Ding Dongs. AFL-CIO President Richard Trumka, in a public statement today, said what's happening with Hostess is a microcosm of what's wrong with America. Bain-style Wall Street vultures make themselves rich by making America poor. Crony capitalism and consistently poor management drove Hostess into the ground, but its workers are paying the price. Romney's long gone. Romney's been defeated. Romney is to blame for Hostess. Evil corporate vultures went in there and they took their profits and they took their Twinkies. And 18,500 God-fearing, God-loving, wonderful Americans are out because the Republicans don't give a rat's rear end about them. That's the message. That's exactly right. Never mind the fact that the union drove this country out of business. This is their second bankruptcy, but that's not the story. And one thing we've learned, we cannot rely on average Americans learning the truth on their own. What can we rely on? Trumka and the media will be believed. The people that can't wait to turn on Entertainment Tonight. The people that can't wait to get the next issue of People magazine. People who can't wait to watch the music awards show Sunday night are going to end up believing that they can't buy Twinkies because the Republicans are a bunch of rich bastards who took all the money out of the company and then shut it down. I know they're all. I know I shouldn't be insulting them. I know they're all voters, and I shouldn't be talking this way about them. I'm not even insulting them. I'm just talking what choice they have. They don't know any better. They don't know capitalism. They don't know what unions do. They've never been taught this. All they know is what Trumka says. Every dispute. Here's another dispute. You've got Hostess and the union. This dispute, like all others, will not be resolved until the Democrats win it. And Trumka and the same thing with these healthcare exchanges. This is what we've learned. This is why an entirely new strategy is going to be required of the Republican Party going forward. The Democrats are not sitting on their laurels here. They're not taking a break. They're, wow, we won. Let's go hit the beach. Nope. Now they're going for our extinction. Now what they're doing is trying to remove any opposition of any size whatsoever. And while that happens, our brainiacs are beating up on Mitt Romney. Anyway, let me get back to the phones because it is Open Line Friday, and I've really only taken one call. I know it seems like I've taken 15 or 20, but it's only one. This is Reggie in Richmond, Virginia. Great to have you on the program, sir. Hi.
Hi, thank you. My question is, do you think that the lack of military response in Benghazi will embolden the terrorists to have to carry out attacks in the U.S.?
No, there aren't any terrorists. I think what we need to do is to see to it that we get a handle on all these rogue videos that are being made. That's the videos that have caused these problems. These people attacking innocent Islam. That's got to stop. The fact that the lack of a military response emboldening it would if there were any terrorists, but Al Qaeda's on the run now. The president says so. I saw it on TV.
Well, I don't see any response from the government to bring the perpetrators of that Benghazi affair to justice.
You don't see any response to government to bring the perpetrator? No, you're right.
I mean, they're not doing anything. I mean, I have heard, there's nothing on the news about what we're doing to bring justice for the Benghazi.
No, but the president said he's going to. I saw it on TV.
Right. That's if it's on the internet, it's true, right?
Well, he did. He said just yesterday he's going to bring him to justice. And the video maker's in jail. I think mission accomplished.
Well, that's really sad.
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. I am glad you called. I really appreciate your patience and waiting, too. We'll take a break and be right back. Don't go.
He didn't start it, but he'll be happy to finish it. Rush on the EIB Network. A silent epidemic is sweeping the Democratic Party. Bird brain flu. Its symptoms are unmistakable. There's memory loss.
You say you don't support the war in Iraq now, but you voted for it.
I don't remember that.
Double standard vision.
Scooter Libby lied to a grand jury.
You didn't complain when Bill Clinton did it.
Yeah, but that was different.
And delusions.
We won the governor's race in New Jersey and Virginia. America's really behind us. We're going to kick butt in 06.
Wow, I feel better now.
And hysteria.
Global warming is melting the polar ice caps. Baby seals are dying.
Bird brain flu affects liberals in the prime of their lives. But there is a cure. Education. Instead of reading a bumper sticker, try picking up a book. Turn off the liberal media and tune into the Rush Limbaugh program.
I was really stuck on stupid, but I feel better now.
Inoculate yourself against bird brain flu. Listen to the Rush Limbaugh radio program. A public service message from the EIB network. And now, a message from the President of the United States.
My fellow Americans, in tough economic times like these, you should not go to Las Vegas and blow all your cash to have fun. Come to where the real action is. Washington, D.C. Why pull a lever on a slot machine when you can take a chance and roll the dice on 1/6 of the economy with national health care? Double down on stimulus spending and win big money for your friends back home. Or if you're a really high roller like me, scare the banks and raise taxes right in the middle of a recession. Come on, 7. Crapped out again. But believe me, you can't lose when you're playing with other people's money. Give me another trillion. Make that 2. And they have great accommodations and food. You can have Kobe beef every night if you want. And when you leave Washington, they comp you with a fat pension and health care that's out of this world.
Travel provided by Pelosi Airlines. Catch an all-you-can-drink flight anytime you like, 24/7.
So what are you waiting for? Come to where the real action is. Washington, D.C. And leave Las Vegas behind.
Oh, it's so easy to love Dancer and Prancer, Donner and Blitzen, Vixen, and especially Rudolph. You know, Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. But what about the other side of the reindeer family? The caribou. The caribou get no cute song, no cuddly cartoons, no Christmas specials. The caribou, they have to fend for themselves in the frozen tundra, uncared for by the liberal. If the truth be known, it's the conservatives who love the caribou. It's the conservatives who care for the caribou, who want to see the caribou go forth and multiply. Conservatives for Caribou is a non-profit organization dedicated to increasing the caribou population. We can double, we can triple the caribou in the frozen tundra, but we need your help, not your money, your support. It'll take a pipeline to double the caribou population. Conservatives for caribou want that pipeline. Daschle Democrats don't. Call Tom Daschle. Tell him to drop the petty politics. Let the caribou go forth and multiply. Support Anwar for the caribou. And now a message from the National Institute.
This is hilarious. I've got CNN on here. Let's see, there were 99, what was it, 199 voting divisions in Philadelphia where Romney got 0 votes. There were a similar number of precincts in Cuyahoga County, 59 precincts in Cuyahoga County where Romney got 0 votes. 0. So over 150 voting divisions in Philadelphia and Cleveland where Romney got not 1 vote. And where is CNN today? They've got one of their ace reporters in a place called King County, Texas, where there were only 5 votes for Obama. And they are there to investigate just what kind of bigots live there. I kid you not. It's been up there for 5 minutes. The reporter is a guy named Gary Tuckman, who you can see riding his bicycle at Columbus Circle. It just goes in circles there. Candy Crowley. No, she got to prepare for her Sunday show. She can't do that. But no, seriously. No votes for Romney in lots of districts in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. No big deal. Makes total sense. 5 Obama votes in King County, Texas, and we got to go find out who the bigots are that live there. What kind of place is this? Only has 5 people who voted for our president. So we've got to go besmirch and impugn King County, Texas. That's CNN. Oh, speaking of CNN, folks, I saw they're looking for a new president. At CNN, they fired Jim Walton, or Jim Walton retired, I forget what. They're looking, and a name surfaced today as leading the pack. It's the guy who hired me for the ESPN pregame show, Mark Shapiro, who after he finished at ESPN, he went to work for Dan Snyder, owns the Redskins. He ran the theme park, Six Flags Over America in Arlington, Texas. And he's done some things since then, but that's the guy that hired me at ESPN. His name's at the top of the list for CNN. Great programmer. The guy's a great programmer. I had great conversations with this, especially during the McNabb incident. Anyway, here's Tim, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Great to have you on the program. Hello.
Hey, Rush, thanks for taking my call. I think we all grew up with Hostess Twinkies and the fruit pies and all that kind of stuff. Dan White used it as a defense for his double murder there in San Francisco years ago. I mean, Hostess is a national icon. Why can't we use taxpayer funds? It's too big to fail, Rush.
I had forgotten that. I had forgotten the Twinkie defense.
That's right.
For Dan White in the Harvey Milk murder.
And the reason there were no votes for Romney in Philadelphia is because all the Republicans saw this coming, and they went out and they were out grabbing all their Twinkies and their fruit pies and the ho-hos and all that stuff before they got off the shelves. They saw this coming. Why didn't the president see this coming? Why can't we use taxpayer funds to bail out Hostess? They are too big. Because
the idea is not save the place. Hostess failing is a great opportunity to blame Republicans for it. The Democrats are taking the long view here. They're playing the long game. The long game is wiping out the Republican Party, not saving 18,000 measly jobs. Because those people are going to get 99 weeks unemployment compensation. They're going to get food stamps. They're going to hold on to their phones. They'll hold on to their TV sets. They'll eat. Obama will take care of them. In the meantime, he gets to blame Romney, Bain Capital, and the Republicans for the fact that the company has failed. And at the same time, he gets to blame capitalism. Crony capitalism. That's Trumka's word here. Crony capitalism, Bain-style Wall Street vultures. See, you and I, we sit here, we hear that, and we say, nobody is going to believe that. Until we stop and realize that over half the country already thinks it. They don't have to even explain that it's evil Republicans that ran the place out of business, because evil Republicans are already known to run big business. And Republicans are already known to hate employees. And Republicans are already known to just steal as much money out of the company as they can and then close up shop and put the money in the Cayman Islands. So Trumka really didn't even have to tell his voters. They already know it. He was just confirming it for them. No ho-hos. No Al-Qaeda's alive, Twinkies are dead. But Osama was killed by Obama. And Hostess was killed by the Republicans. Here's Richard, El Segundo, California. Welcome, sir. Great to have you.
Hello, Rush. How are you today? Thank you for taking my call. By the way, the entertainment waiting on the telephone during the breaks is outstanding.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that.
I called you on September 11th and discussed my concerns over Republican attendance for this current election, and that's another issue. I'm speaking to you today about Proposition 30. That's 30, not 13. In the state of California, you expressed a desire last week to sort of track the aftermath of that. Well, you lived here, and you know what California is all about, but I'm still here, and it's been some years since you have been. It's even worse. It's a bottomless pit. The state lottery 25 years ago was supposed to handle all educational costs forever. That's what it was sold on, and of course, that's a myth. We've got something like $500 billion in unfunded pension liabilities and a number of other expenses. And
okay, wait, let's go through this.
Sure.
This is going to be an interesting exercise. And I'm not going to be able to complete it before we have to take a break. I need to ask if you can hold on through the top of the hour.
I'd be honored.
Okay. Because in Prop 30, don't hang up now. In Prop 30, citizens of California voted to raise taxes on themselves. And so Mayor Willie Brown, Speaker Brown, said, oh, this will work. This will work because the people are behind it. They voted us themselves. Okay, so you got that. Number two, he said, yeah, the lottery, 25, 30 years ago, was supposed to pay for all education. As far as most Californians are concerned, there's nothing wrong with it. The schools are still open. Unfunded liabilities, pension liabilities, they may be unfunded, but people retire, they're still getting their pensions. We haven't gone over to Cliff on anything. None of that explanation is going to convince anybody that there's a problem. That's my point. We don't go away. Be right back.
The state-controlled media stops here. Rush on the EIB network. For centuries, third world women have known the secrets of washing their clothes with materials that are close at hand. The Jupiter 3000 embraces this technology and uses only a half of a cup of water per load. The new Jupiter 3000 from General Eclectic.
So, how does it work?
Simply put 50 pounds of small pebbles into this hopper.
That's heavy.
Then crank this handle for 30 minutes per pound of laundry.
And it gets clothes cleaner than any other brand?
We can't make that claim, but it does use less water than any other washer on the market today.
So my clothes will smell the same?
Since the Jupiter 3000 uses only a half of cup of water and no detergent, your laundry will smell the same as it did when it went in.
Cool.
Act now and will include a gallon of chemical-free spring water, enough to do the laundry for 6 months for a family of 4. The Jupiter 3000, retro technology from General Eclectic. Look for the EW seal of approval. If you got a hankering for something a little bit on the wild side for dinner tonight, then you need to check out Girl Cafeteria. Girl Cafeteria, where you choose your favorite critter from our tank. Let us serve it up any way you like it. Then, while you enjoy your meal, we'll fashion its pelt into any one of a number of designer items. You might try our delicious raccoon-a-roni, or how about a nice hot bowl of chin chili?
I just had the muskrat. Delicious. And I got this great pair of gloves.
My kids and I had the turtellini. Got an entire set of neat salad bowls.
And if you like your critter really fresh, you might try our convenient drive-thru.
It's all right, honey. Just eat around the tire track.
And the kids are sure to love Girl Cafeteria.
Hey, Billy, how's that possum?
Awesome! Girl Cafeteria. You choose it, we kill it. You wear it home. Next to the animal shelter on Highway 92.
If you're looking for the real south of the border experience, then sneak into Los Aligalos and place your order today.
Welcome to Los Aligalos. Can I take your order?
Yes, I want free health care, a job, I want to protest in the streets, and I want the entire Southwest U.S. returned to its rightful owner, Mexico.
Are you here legally?
That's none of your business.
And right now in Los Aligalos, you can try our new chicken soft border taco. With a tortilla so thin, you can see right through it. No ID? No problem. In the country illegally? No problem. Just cut in line in front of everyone else.
Jace, I'd like a La Raza tostada. Hey, I've been waiting in line here for 10 years. Hey, tell that to Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi.
Bring the whole gang to Los Aligalos and order our MS-13 special. Order a dozen tacos and we'll throw in one free.
Viva Los Aligalos!
Wear your American flag t-shirt inside out and get a free entry.
That's entree?
Oh, yeah. Now open 24 hours in all border states. Arizona is subject to change.
What could be worse than a dirty renegade?
My point is that the people in California, the voters, clearly do not see any problems. They don't think anything's wrong. They keep voting for the people who are in office.
Attention EIP affiliates. Stand by for the Rush Limbaugh promo feed.
Copyright 2012.
EIP Network.
Start all recording devices in 3, 2, 1, now.
Rush Limbaugh.
I'm going to tell you, Republicans, something.
Rush.
If you want to really get to the bottom of why Romney lost, over 50% of voters still blame George Bush for the economy. You Republicans running around trying to figure out why the economy, for the first time in history, did not mean anything in an election, better realize it did. And your party got blamed for it. There's a reason. You didn't defend yourselves. I'm going to tell you, Republicans, something. If you want to really get to the bottom of why Romney lost, over 50% of voters still blame George Bush for the economy. You Republicans running around trying to figure out why the economy, for the first time in history, did not mean anything in an election, better realize it did. And your party got blamed for it. There's a reason. You didn't defend yourselves. They're telling us that nobody told Obama that his CIA director was having an affair. They want us to believe that Obama didn't know about this until the Thursday after the election.
The Rush Limbaugh Weekend Review.
It's outrageous to insult our intelligence, to have us believe that Obama was not told that the CIA director's having an affair. What happened was they put that fact in a pocket, and they're ready to use it against Petraeus whenever they need it. Well, hello, Benghazi.
The Rush Limbaugh radio program.
Every program is a brilliantly conceived and flawlessly executed strategy. I understand that some of you new listeners are going to be confused. That's the idea. I just realize that there are far more powerful ways to make a point than to say something in 5 or 6 seconds. It's about inspiring your own brains to get into gear, to start thinking about things.
This concludes the promo feed. Production directors everywhere. Be with us next time as we make your life easier on the EIB network. Now, an important message from President Obama to all potentially unemployed Americans and undocumented nannies.
If you're one of the millions of people right now who are worried about getting fired, don't despair. A recent Boston Globe story highlighted two people who were pleasantly surprised by unemployment during my recession. These people, who had climbed the success spiral during the Bush years, are truly enjoying my failure free fall. Under George Bush, unemployment would have been a catastrophe, but under my administration, it is an enlightening experience. You'll find that you will see life in a whole new way. You'll have all the time you want to go to the park and play with the kids, take long walks, and learn that the best things in life are free, like mortgages and healthcare. Right now, I'm doing all I can to help as many Americans as possible to experience the joys of unemployment. So when you get that pink slip, don't ruin your happiness by looking for a job. Together, we can do it. Yes, we can.
Guess who's hiring in today's tough job market? The IRS.
Just like my budget, the Internal Revenue Service is growing again, and I need thousands of dedicated, hardworking employees to grow with us.
At the new Obamacare division of the IRS, you can choose a rewarding career as a tanning salon auditor.
46, 38, 64. Yeah, your numbers look real good. Do you have a sister?
Or try healthcare penalty enforcement.
So did you purchase healthcare insurance in 2012?
Yeah, sure.
What's the deductible? Copay? Coverage limits?
Well, I don't know.
Up against the wall, scumbag!
Or go undercover at the Obamacare division and perform random audit colonoscopies.
Nope. No money up this one. You can be part of a growing army of IRS professionals dedicated to enforcing health care that's so great we had to mandate it. Give me just a little more time, and the economy will surely grow. Give me just a little more time, and healthcare will surely flow. Life's too short to make a mistake. Let's pass healthcare and don't hesitate. I don't care how skeptical you may be. This is about you, it's not about me. If we don't do it now, you'll surely regret it. Healthcare's a right in the Constitution we shredded. Give me just a little more time, and the economy will surely grow. Give me just a little more time, and healthcare will surely flow. You're getting scared, 'cause I'm in a hurry. I'm eager for control, but don't you worry. We both want the same things in life. You'll have your kind of health care and I'll have mine. Don't give up on me, 'cause business is slow. We're gonna succeed with the stimulus, I hope. Give me just a little more time, and the economy will surely grow. Give me just a little more time. Unemployment will surely slow. Baby, trust Barry. Baby, trust Barry. With a little more time, we can do anything we want to. With a little more time.
Hey, Cookie. Never mind. I'll send you an email. Nobody needs to know what I'm doing tomorrow. Anyway, greetings. What am I thinking? I was going to have her make a reservation. Welcome back. Open Line Friday. It is El Rushbo. Make it happen.
From sunny South Florida, it's Open Line Friday.
Damn right they had ding-dongs in Missouri. Had Twinkies, all that. Absolutely. When I worked with the Kansas City Royals, Hostess was a sponsor. I had Twinkies all over my office. I mean, I had stacks of Twinkies and ding-dongs. And we put plenty of ho-hos in the locker room for the players. Welcome back, folks. 800-282-2882. If you want to be on the program, the email address, lrushbo@eibnet.com. Okay, I want to go back to the phones. I want to go to Richard in El Segundo, California. Richard, you're still there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not trying to diminish the hell that you're going through living in California. I'm from the perspective of people that don't live there. Even for some of the people who do, Richard, for all of the problems that you can describe, and Prop 30 is clearly a problem, and they're going to get, by the way, they're going to erase Prop 13 next. I mean, they're going to get rid of the adjustments made long ago by Howard Jarvis on property tax. You're just getting started with tax increases on it, because this is not going to close any budgets. This is not, and you talk about the unfunded pension liability. You can talk about all the money from the lottery is supposed to pay for education, but. And I love that state. If it weren't for I could live there. But Richard, my contention to you is that the vast majority of people live there don't think anything's wrong. They keep voting the same way. I know that there's a group that I remember what was it? 180. It was the no welfare for illegal laborers.
187.
187. I know all of this. I know everything you're going to tell me about the income tax, property tax, and so forth. But you've got two states there. You've got the elite on the coast, all up and down, even up in Eureka County. Even the elite up there, they're the global warming elite, but they're still. And then you've got the interior, which is the agricultural part of the state, and you've got anarchy. You've got crime running rampant. You've got no police forces and so forth. But what I see is everybody who is essentially responsible for the mess keeps getting reelected and in greater numbers.
You just described the entire country.
That's true. So let's go through what you mentioned specifically. You said 25 years ago the lottery was going to pay for education.
Forever.
And of course, nothing's paid for in California. There is the largest budget deficit, larger than many countries, $16, $18 billion. It obviously doesn't matter to anybody. Or it doesn't matter to anywhere near a majority of people. The number of people who don't care about that dwarf the number who do. And as far as they're concerned, the lottery is paying for education. The schools are still open. And unfunded pension liability, well, maybe, I'll contend you, most people don't even know what that means when they hear unfunded pension liability, including the pensioners. All they know is they're still getting them.
Well, you must remember as well, and I'm sure you do, that this is a parasite's paradise in California. We have 12% of the population. We eat up 33% of the nation's welfare money. The illegals cost us $13 billion a year. That's over 1/10 of the entire country.
Right, and I don't see that anybody cares.
Well, we do have our share of those who are to be charitable are challenged as far as native intelligence is concerned.
It's more education than anything, but still I know what you mean.
Well, for example, the city of Los Angeles is now on the heels of Proposition 30, pushing for another half-cent sales tax within the city.
I know. I've got the LA Times headline right here. Tax hikes, improving economy bode well for California, but nothing bodes well for the California budget.
I agree with you. The socialists in Sacramento now are flush with the smugness that they have a supermajority, and are discussing tripling, I emphasize, tripling the license fees on vehicles.
Yep.
And this is within a week and a half after that proposition passed.
Right, and who elects them?
They pulled the wool over the eyes of the majority of the Californians once again.
Right.
They're a target of opportunity.
Yeah, well, who elects them? They keep getting elected, and by the people who are going to pay triple increases in auto registration.
It's totally misunderstood. 60 to 70% of as a matter of fact, I haven't seen a school ballot for a bond issue not pass in this state as far back as I can remember. I just scanned the election results on Tuesday night. The local ballots were on screen, and every one of the school bonds passed by a margin of 60 to 70%.
Yeah.
And all they have to do is throw in the moniker of its quote, for the children, close quote, and they pass. So the state is cutting its own throat here. It's like taking candy from a baby.
Well, see, this is where I don't know that you're hearing me. Because to me, the state's, we're talking two different things. Yes, in real terms, somewhere down the road, the state is cutting its own throat. But it isn't. None of this pain, none of the damage, none of the penalties, taxes inflicted, not changing the way people are voting. It's not changing the way a lot of people are living. And you know as well as I do that when they reach the tipping point, if a Democrat is in the White House, they're going to bail our state out.
Well, of course, we're both preaching to the choir here.
Well, now I'm trying to make a larger point. I'm in the middle of formulating strategically how to do it. So I'm actually using you as a guinea pig. I haven't figured out how to do this. But what I'm trying to say is, we can cite real world facts. We can paint a real world picture of the future, but it hasn't happened yet, even though it's in the process of happening. But in terms of it hasn't happened, it hasn't affected people's lives yet. And apparently, Richard, tax increases don't bother the people of California because they're not new. Property taxes have been high for a long time. State income taxes have been high for a long time. I know the largest share is borne by the rich, but they don't care either. Well, and when I say they don't care, I know there are people like you, but you're so outnumbered that it is accurate to say the Republican Party has lost that state forever. And I can tell you when it began. 1988, when all kinds of immigration standards were relaxed, Simpson-Mazzoli, 86 actually, when we opened the floodgates with amnesty. That's when the begin. And this is not an anti-Hispanic comment. It's a comment politically on Republicans losing the state. An influx of Democrat voters came in, and we're facing the same thing happening now nationwide by design and on purpose. We just have 4 years of an economic uber disaster in this country. And the party not responsible for it got blamed totally.
Well, there's a level of ignorance in California as well as nationwide, and I'm not giving you any news. I've spoken to people here before that say, for example, they don't care about property tax increases because they're renters. I've also spoken to people who say they don't care about bonds. They don't like taxes, but they don't care about bonds because, and this is a direct quote, the government pays for those. So when you're fighting that level of misinformation with people who cannot connect the dots, we've got a real problem, and it's migrated throughout the entire country.
But shouldn't real life connect the dots, even if they don't understand how bonds are paid for, and even if they don't understand how they cannot escape higher costs of living because they rent? At some point, shouldn't the reality of the disaster of the way they're voting affect the way they live, and thus change the way they're voting.
When they actually write the check, they understand. Until then, and it's dollar for dollar, they don't connect the dots. I've spoken to dozens and dozens of people on these subjects over the years, and it's consistent.
Here's the bottom line. California current taxes right now, highest state sales tax, second highest gasoline taxes in the nation, personal income tax second highest, corporate income tax highest in the West. California has the third worst state business tax climate in the nation, according to a report from the Tax Foundation. And I know, by the way, that lots of people are leaving California. There are a lot of, is it 1,000 people a week that are moving to a place like Idaho? And so I know there are people leaving.
Well, there's a huge exodus, and over 5,000 businesses of various sizes have left here within the last 2 years.
Right, and the state's still functioning, and Southern California is still beautiful, and so is Pebble Beach, and so is Carmel. Everything's still beautiful. So is San Diego. So is Coronado. It's all still. So is Palm Springs. So is Indian Wells. It's all still beautiful. It's all still a great vacation. San Francisco's still beautiful. All of this is happening, and to listen to us talk, this place ought to be a ghost town, falling apart at the seams, and it isn't. So when we preach dismal despair, this can't continue, the people that live there say, well, what do you mean it can't continue? It is continuing. Our education schools are still open. They don't know that they're underfunded. And in fact, every little thing they want, now they've got addictomies paid for. They got same-sex changes, everything paid for. I mean, what could be better for the people who live in these places? Exactly what they want is happening.
Look at the impending municipal bankruptcies. We've had 4 or 5, and there are many on the ropes right now. I know that from firsthand information.
It doesn't matter. Is my point is it doesn't matter who's winning every election out there in ever-increasing or by ever-increasing margins. The architects of all this.
Well, you're simply indicting the American public, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, let's call a spade here. People don't understand basic economics. How do you explain that?
It's not that I'm indicting the American people, per se. I'm trying to acknowledge what California's become. It's a socialist welfare democracy that the people who live there want, and everything as far as they're concerned is fine, the vast majority of them, and it's not so much what they know, it's what they've been taught. California is a microcosm for where we're headed as the country because of the the long-term fix for California is the same thing it is for the country. We have got to get control back of the public education system. The reason you sit there and talk about the naivete or the ignorance of the people, they don't know any. They've been taught governments, wonderful governments, the answer governments, this, governments that. To them, the worst people alive are Republicans. And therefore, everything Republicans say is either a lie or dastardly wrong or mean-spirited or what have you.
Well, it may be pie in the sky, but I would expect that some native intelligence would come into play here and that people would begin to understand what's happening. There is a mass exodus of wealth, by the way, out of this state, and it's going to come back to roost.
Maybe so, but it ain't happening fast enough to... You're looking for this vast reservoir of native intelligence, and I'm asking you, where is it? It keeps electing more... They just voted to raise taxes on themselves.
Exactly, and they put Brown back in the governor's mansion once again. You may know or may not know that his prior city of Oakland...
No, they don't care. They're getting what they want. This is our challenge. They are not being fooled. We think they're being fooled. They are getting what they want. That's our challenge. They're not having the wool pulled over their eyes. These people are not voting for tax increases because they're stupid. or because they're being lied to about it. They want it. They believe in it. Only if we accept that, I think, are we going to be able to deal with this down the road. It's a contest of ideas. But I don't think clearly there's some people who don't know what they're thinking and don't know what they know, because you've got that in every group of people. My point to you is that overall, the majority of people who vote in that state are not fooled. They know what they're doing, and they like what they're getting. And the evidence is undeniable. They keep voting that way in greater numbers every election. We'll be back.
Say what needs to be said. Rush on the EIB network. Now, an urgent message from Albert Gore Jr.
My fellow environmentalist, recently my purchase of carbon credits from a company I own to offset my personal carbon footprint has caused some to question my true beliefs in the cause of global warming. Rest assured that any profits from the credits I purchase to offset my energy use will be used toward the purchase of more energy, which will require me to purchase even more carbon credits. My computer models have shown this synergistic approach will cool the Earth 0.65 degrees by the year 2068. But to do it even faster, I need your help.
To help cool the Earth even faster, send a donation to the Albert Gore Jr. Utility Fund today and help Al purchase even more energy and more credits.
It's like the circle of life.
Are you looking for a totally healthy choice in fast food? Then drive into the all-new Bun and Run.
Welcome to Bun and Run. May I take your order, please?
Yeah, I want a double with cheese, chili, and onion.
We don't have that, sir.
What about chicken nuggets?
No.
Sausage nuggets? Bacon nuggets?
We don't have them.
And ordering is simple at Bun and Run. We serve nothing but the finest whole grain buns with nothing inside.
Hello, I'm Sidney Klopp, founder of Bun and Run. My lawyer said this concept would limit our liability. I hope you enjoy my buns.
So for a healthy, satisfying meal, try our new Bun and Run today.
Okay, I'll just have the bun and some mayo.
We don't serve mayonnaise.
At Bun and Run, we serve just the bun with no unhealthy fillers. And you can have it your way, toasted or untoasted. Bun and Run, the healthiest fast food on the planet.
Nothing but the bun. Bun and Run.
Franchises available.
Hey, Bob. Cute car.
Yeah, it's my new 2014 Ford Excuse 4x4, limited edition. The first 4x4 to meet the new mileage standard, 37 miles to the gallon.
Ooh, limited edition, huh?
Yeah, they only made 3 this year, to keep up with the demand.
Kind of small, don't you think?
Well, yeah, but it does get 37 miles to the gallon. Hey, careful, don't lean on it too hard. The sheet metal's kind of thin.
Ooh, sorry. Let's go for a ride. Kind of tight in here.
Yeah, but my Ford Excuse gets
I know, 37 miles to the gallon. What is that?
The optional Briggs & Stratton V2 engine. Only 12 horsepower, but it does get...
I know, 37 miles per gallon. Can you tow anything?
No.
Carry any cargo?
Well, but it does get 37 miles per gallon. You want to go for a drive around the block?
Well, I don't know. What time is it?
3 o'clock.
Will we be back in time for dinner?
Good question.
The 2014 Ford Excuse 4x4. The future is coming. Now a message from President Barack.
Say, folks, I want to use my translation skills now in an attempt to make a couple statements a little more understandable. When the president calls for a balanced approach to the fiscal cliff, what is he saying? I'll tell you what he means. A balanced approach is raising taxes and not cutting spending. Or we could take the liberal term revenue or the liberal term investment. What does that mean? It means more taxes to everybody. Investing in R&D, investing in work training. What does it mean? It means tax increases. It means more and more taxes. Now, the Heritage Foundation has never published a book of Washington, D.C. translations for times like these, but it might be a good creative exercise for them. They do see that plain and clear that the president does intend to tax his way to prosperity, which is impossible, by the way. You cannot tax a society into prosperity. You can tax a government into prosperity. When a government doesn't have to show a profit, when a government doesn't have to balance the books, you can tax a government into prosperity, and you can tax the people that work for government into prosperity, but you cannot tax the people who make the country work into prosperity. The truth on finding prosperity, and by the way, the biggest problem we have in this, well, that's hard to say. One of the big problems in this country is that most people don't understand where prosperity comes from. Real prosperity, real wealth. They don't know how it's created or where it's created. They believe, an increasing number believe it comes from the government. Don't doubt me. Huge number, increasing number of Americans believe that prosperity comes from the government. Now, Heritage has a book out to try to counter all of this. It's actually a short publication called Saving the American Dream, and it's based in real facts, practical solutions, and at a time when it's refreshing to hear. I would really encourage you to get a copy of this. Heritage has it online for you. Get it at signwithheritage.org. It's a website specially created this month, not only to get your copy of Saving the American Dream, but allow you to read other words of wisdom from some of the smartest and well-thought-out people inside the Capitol, or inside the Beltway. Heritage Foundation, again, signwithheritage.org is the website. And here's Michael in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Open Line Friday rolling on. How are you, sir?
Oh, doing great. It's a great honor to talk to you, Rush.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You know, I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not beating up on Romney. I just think you nailed it on the last call. You said it's a contest of ideas. And, you know, I never did get all the answers I wanted from Romney. I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot as the Republican Party because the Democrats are running full-fledged, true blue Democrats. And we're running these people who I think are political wimps, and they're afraid to take a risk or say what they really believe.
Well, you know what? We're also afraid of negative ads because we're afraid the independents don't like them. So we haven't learned that you can run a truthful negative ad that is not an attack on a person. They run everything, but I know what you mean. We're in the arena of ideas. There were a bunch of times, and even during debates, when Romney's going through the economic stats as they exist today and how he's going to change them. And I was longing for him to explain how. Teach.
Exactly.
That's the only thing that was missing. How are you going to create 12 million jobs? Tell us how it works. He had a
goal. He was asked several times, how are you going to pay for the tax cut? And he said, well, we're going to eliminate some deductions. Well, which ones? And he never would answer. And I'm like, just tell us.
Well, because I'm going to defend him. He thought it'd be minutia and confusing because in the limited time they have in a debate. I understand that, but I agree with you in overall. Is your terror cell living in terror?
Now this word from the New York Times to jihadists everywhere.
Is your safe house not that safe? If you want your sleeper cell to sleep safely, read the New York Times.
Jihadists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
I saved my sleeper cell thanks to the New York Times.
For information you can't get anywhere else.
Did you know your phone calls are traced? Did you know your money transfers are being intercepted?
Now, thanks to the New York Times, you will be safe and secure.
I rerouted my terror funds thanks to the New York Times.
From Tora Bora to Tijuana, terrorists everywhere depend on the New York Times.
Because you'll find all the secret stuff that makes news meaningful to you.
Plus, exciting bonus features.
Daily attacks on the infidels by Maureen O'Dowd and Paul Al Krugman and Tom Al Friedman. Not to mention the entire front page of our newspaper, which is daily attacks on the infidels.
Gift subscriptions available.
We offer at the New York Times quantity discounts for large terror cells, educational discounts for madrasas and terrorist training camps. Read the New York Times and your sleeper cell can sleep safely.
Even in the deepest, darkest cave, you'll be the first to get inside knowledge of what the infidels have in mind to wipe you out.
New York Times, The Infidels Jihad Journal.
From the beginning of time, man has chosen to believe in popular myths.
Him make sun rise in sky.
And I make it set.
Even today, the so-called educated wallow helplessly in ignorance.
Hey, put that cigarette out. You're contributing to global warming.
Yes, millions of Americans are able to believe what they want to, in spite of the facts, because of us, the Center for Creative Reality, promoting the free expression of belief of ideas, any ideas.
Hi, this is Senator John McCain. Without the help of the Center for Creative Reality, I wouldn't have been able to transform from moderate maverick Republican to thoughtful conservative Republican in a matter of seconds. Thank you, CFCR.
The Center for Creative Reality. Got a dream? Don't let the truth hold you back. Make it real today.
Thank you, CFCR.
And now, Saving the World with Al Gore Jr.
Hello, this is Albert Gore Jr. And as I said in the New York Times, I, for one, genuinely wish that the climate crisis were an illusion. But unfortunately, the reality of the danger we are courting has not been changed by the discovery of at least two very small mistakes in the thousands of pages of careful scientific research. Small mistakes happen every day. Ask Charlie Rangel. He went on vacation and had no idea who was paying for it. Nancy Pelosi thought it was okay to fly friends and family and associates to Washington and to Copenhagen so that they could be near her. Honest mistakes happen all the time. Ask Governor Patterson, who sent a couple of state troopers to a woman's house to deliver a Hallmark card of sympathy, and it was mistakenly caught up in the press as some sort of threat. Well, I say all that to say this, that honest mistakes are made every day by Democrats everywhere. What's a few degrees in temperature either way? Cut me some slack.
Join us next time as we once again save the world with Al Gore Jr.
Hey, Twinkie fans, all is not lost. All is not lost. Are you ready for this? I have some news here from the Politico. A new petition wants President Obama to nationalize the Twinkie industry and save it from extinction. It's a website called We the People. We, the undersigned, hereby request Barack Obama to immediately nationalize the Twinkie industry and prevent our nation from losing her sweet, creamy center. The website is We the People. Do you know who runs it? White House. So the White House, put this out to explain it, the White House has a petition up that many people may not know is a White House petition. As far as people are concerned, it's some interested citizens who are begging President Obama to bail out the Hostess Company, thereby paving the way for Obama to go in and do it, responding to public demand, when in fact it's a White House plan from the get-go. So let's say it happens. The headline, and Politico's ready to write the headline, Obama saves Twinkies. Get ready for it. In fact, this was predictable. I should have predicted it when the program began today, because it's too easy. There's no way Obama's going to compromise with the owners and save it. But he'll be glad to nationalize it. Take it. I mean, this is chump change compared to an automobile company. And then after a while, sell it to the union or give it to the union like he did General Motors, and then proclaim the Twinkie industry saved. don't laugh. Stern is in there laughing. Sir, that's exactly... It has happened. It happened with Chrysler. It happened with General Motors. Osama is dead. General Motors is alive. Yeah, they're Twinkies. I know Michelle's out there campaigning against Twinkies, but that's a minor concern to be overridden. I'm telling you, don't be surprised if it happens. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday on this program, darn it. Cookie, do you happen, I know you have it, I don't know how easy it would be to find. Could you find the sound bite from Jake Tapper that I aired yesterday? Because we aired the soundbite and I analyzed it, and Jake went to Twitter and said that I was misrepresenting what he had said. And I hope by everybody, I do not purposely misrepresent or lie. I don't see any value in it. I'm not a politician that wants to get somewhere by lying. I'm not going to have any credibility if everybody thinks all I'm doing is lying about stuff. That was not my intention. I don't want to be wrong. And Jake says I was misinterpreting what he said. So I want to get the, she's going to get the soundbite. I want to get the soundbite and play it, and I'll revisit my interpretation. But he sent my brother a couple of tweets, and he sent an email to HR, the trusted, loyal chief of staff, and said it was a lot of people were being unfair and calling him an Obamaite or some such thing, but that my interpretation was wrong. And what was that? Oh, he did. He allowed with HR. He might have not been clear in his comments, but he felt bad because he was hearing from a lot of you accusing him of being an Obamaite because of what I said, and he doesn't want to be thought of as an Obamaite. Okay, so here's the soundbite. Here's the sound. I don't have the transcript in front of me now. It doesn't matter. But here's that. And this was, I'm going to set this up. This was, I think it was on CNN, Piers Morgan. And I think the question was, why didn't the mainstream media cover Benghazi? I think that's pretty much what it was. Let's listen.
It was covering the Benghazi story in the months leading up to the election. It was so politicized with the White House and the administration in a defensive crouch because they thought every word they said would be twisted and unfairly attacked, and they didn't obviously want to interfere with a positive narrative about al-Qaeda. And Republicans putting out conspiracy theories, some of them not rooted in any facts or evidence, that it was tough to report on this.
Okay, now the way I interpreted that was, remember who Jake is. He's a White House reporter for ABC, and he's explaining why the Benghazi story was not interesting, why there was no news there, or why it wasn't covered. On the one hand, you had the administration, and they didn't want their positive narrative about al-Qaeda being on the run, because that's what the narrative was. Now, Jake doesn't say that, so I'm assuming that the White House narrative on al-Qaeda was that Obama had him on the run. That's been the thing since the convention, since they got Osama bin Laden. Al-Qaeda, in fact, the president was saying it on the campaign trail. And Jake admits that the White House didn't want that narrative messed with, and they were very defensive about this. On the other side was the Republicans believing in a bunch of conspiracy theories that you couldn't believe in that weren't based in fact. And so my interpretation was that since the White House didn't want their narrative tampered with, and the Republicans didn't have one you could believe in, that there wasn't a story, because who knows or who knew what really happened. Now, my interpretation, my critical interpretation of this was based on the fact of my understanding of journalism. My understanding of journalism is that it's not the role of any journalist to be concerned with carrying forward any politician's narrative, be it the White House or the Republicans. My admittedly old-fashioned interpretation of journalists is that they don't trust anybody, that they especially are suspicious of people with a lot of power, that they will speak truth to power, that their objective here is to make sure that people with power don't run roughshod over everybody. And what I heard him say here was he wanted to respect the White House narrative, which was a positive al-Qaeda narrative that they're on the run. Okay, we are sitting out here realizing, no, al-Qaeda is not on the run. They did the attack. That was not a conspiracy theory. It was not a game. It was not a made-up non-fact. It has been admitted to, and it was admitted to before the election by the State Department, by any number of government agencies. So the White House narrative was wrong. But see, I interpreted Jacob Tapper as not caring whether the White House narrative was wrong. What he was concerned about was not displeasing them on there. That's what I heard him say. And so that's essentially what I said yesterday, which resulted in a number of you tweeting him, being critical of his comment there as I was. So he let us know that he didn't like it. He was unhappy with the response that my interpretation of his comment was creating. But I just want to specify again here that I can understand Jay Carney, the regime's flack, protecting the narrative. But I thought that Peter Jennings, Dan Rather, Tom Brokaw, Chuck Todd, Brian Williams, I thought these guys were to instinctively not trust it, particularly when there was news out there that al-Qaeda is not on the run. They're building up that they did the attack. So anyway, Jacob also has a book. It's called The Outpost, An Untold Story of American Valor. And it explores the lives of brave troops and their families who toiled at a very vulnerable, remote outpost 14 miles from the Pakistan border. That's why he's doing media appearances, because he's written the book, and it's apparently very supportive of these brave troops and their families. So that's why he's doing the what. Well, now that's Snerdley is asking me. Well, what is the right interpretation of? Let's play it again. I'll take a stab at the correct interpretation. My interpretation is what it is, and again, my interpretation is rooted in what apparently is a misunderstanding of the role of journalism or journalists today. And this, by the way, very helpful for me to learn this. And as I watch now the White House press corps deal, like this president's press conference, and we've got sound bites. For example, what else? Who was it? It was Dana Bash and some other talking about McCain and Graham demanding a select committee to look into Benghazi. And they reported that it was Chuck Todd. Chuck Todd expressed sadness that they hijacked Obama's first press conference. He's great mood. He was going to be cooperative with the president. These guys come along and demand a select committee on Benghazi, and it made Obama get mad, and it was unfortunate. So I just didn't know that. I didn't know that journalists chose sides. But anyway, here's Jake's. Well, they remember it was Dana Bash or somebody who said, "Oh, some Democrat senator said I can't wait for this. 2 old white guys attacking a black woman, Susan." Well, clearly that's not what's happening here. The people trying to get to the bottom of what happened to Benghazi. We didn't make her secretary or the UN ambassador. Obama did. It's not our fault or anybody else's fault that she's black, but is she immune from criticism because she's African American? And I guess the answer is yes. But that's another thing. Here's Jake's CNN comment, Piers Morgan, from 2 nights ago again.
As somebody who was covering the Benghazi story in the months leading up to the election, it was so politicized with the White House and the administration in a defensive crouch because they thought every word they said would be twisted and unfairly attacked, and they didn't obviously want to interfere with a positive narrative about Al-Qaeda. And Republicans putting out conspiracy theories, some of them not rooted in any facts or evidence, that it was tough to report on this.
Okay, so I guess the interpretation he wants is, here's an actual attack that killed 4 Americans, and it's been so politicized that it's impossible to cover. And let's step back. It's impossible to cover because it's been so politicized. Is that now? Again, if that's the correct interpretation, what isn't? My God, the media has publicized every event in the campaign. How will this look for Obama? How will Benghazi, will it hurt or help Obama's reelection? Not, are there 4 dead men? I still don't know what conspiracy theories the Republicans were talking about are. Do you? No, seriously. Seriously, Oh, that's right. There were 2 theories. One was the ambassador intended to get kidnapped in exchange for the blind shake, and the other one, he was running guns to see. Okay, those there were 2 wild theories, but those were fringe. Those were not the fundamental things the Republicans were saying. No, they weren't. They were not offered up by elected officials. They were offered up by kooks wherever, and who knows. But the Republican position on this was, it was not a video. It was an Al-Qaeda attack, and 4 Americans are dead. That's not kook fringe. Anyway, Jake's book is The Outpost, An Untold Story of American Valor. I got to take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The center of the radio universe. Rush on the EIB network. Most Americans don't realize that kids are a real drag on the economy, and that's why Nancy Pelosi, as part of the Obama stimulus package, is releasing her new DVD, Don't Do It, with helpful advice from Nancy about contraception for young adults.
After you have applied the glue and the staples, take the condom and apply it to the cucumber gently like this.
Oh, let's just hold hands.
Okay.
As part of the recovery package, the Don't Do It DVD will be required viewing in fertility clinics nationwide.
Motherhood is a wonderful thing, but are you sure you want to bring another child into this world during a recession? What's its carbon footprint? Remember, if your child eats, somewhere another child goes hungry.
When Nancy's Don't Do It DVD is broadcast nightly across the country, it'll be guaranteed to give everyone a headache and couples more cash to stimulate the economy.
Oh no, she's pole dancing again. Let's just go to the mall.
Okay.
So if you're in the mood, try Nancy Pelosi's Don't Do It DVD, the most effective contraceptive ever. Do you have trouble being taken seriously?
How did you know?
Do you long for that certain special something lacking in your voice?
Uh-huh.
Do you want to make your average thoughts and ideas seem powerful and gifted?
Yeah.
Well, now you can have that confident, authoritative, God-like sound wherever you go with the Obamatron Verberator Pro. The Obamatron Verberator Pro is the only portable reverberation device personally endorsed by Barack Obama because it's so simple to use. Just implant the tiny sensor.
Wait.
And you can set your Verberator Pro for any occasion. Choose from Stately.
Wow, that is different. I feel so presidential. I come before you today to ask you for one of those tiny umbrellas for my drink.
Canyon.
Hello.
And for large egos, Der Führermeister.
I have led the accounting department to new and greater heights.
This holiday season, give the gift that no one can forget, the Obamatron Verberator Pro. The Verberator Pro is not for everybody on your list.
Some enchanted evening. You will see a stranger.
And may become annoying after a short period of time.
Looking good, huh? I'm talking about me.
Now a message in the public interest about PTSD, pre-traumatic stress disorder.
Does anyone you know attend a radical mosque with a jihadist imam? Does he or she attempt to reach out to Al-Qaeda? Say inflammatory things online or at the workplace about America, the great Satan. At first you might think they could be an Islamic terrorist nutjob, but they are just suffering from PTSD, pre-traumatic stress disorder.
Pre-traumatic stress disorder is caused by the stress one experiences from George W. Bush's mistaken attempt to defend our country against terrorism by sending troops overseas.
So before you jump to conclusions and get all judgmental about people who act differently than you, remember, gunning down random soldiers and shouting Allahu Akbar may just be a cry for help.
This message about pre-traumatic stress disorder brought to you by the Secretary of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano, who's more worried about offending terrorists than protecting you.
You know, folks, you're right as often as I am. It's easier to make smart business observations, like the difference between making a long-term lease commitment for office space or using Regus office centers. It just makes sense, dollars and cents, to use a Regus office. The money you save can be as impressive as anything. I mean, you're not paying to build out office space or buying all kinds of office equipment. You're not buying furnishings. You're not buying high-tech equipment of any kind. What you do is you move in to a beautifully furnished set of offices with access to the latest and greatest equipment and technology and a receptionist and phone numbers, and you have a single monthly rent cost. And you use it or not, but you don't pay for it when you're not there. Think about the fact you're not renting additional space for a receptionist or all the common areas that come with offices like hallways and kitchens. None of that. You don't worry about any of it. It's already there. You just make your deal with Regis, you go in and use it. It's yours when you're there. All that stuff is yours. The furniture, the receptionist, the phone number, and business card made. You're in business, put the phone number there. It's yours when you're there. And then there's the savings for not building out, furnishing conference rooms or meeting space or any of that. All that is solved when you use a Regis office. It's a new way to work. Call them at 1-800-OFFICES. Or visit them online. It's regus.com, regis.com/rush. Either way, call them or use the net, and you'll get 2 months free. And by the way, that's a deal. 2 months free with the mere mention of my name. If you got a home office that you need to take a client to now, and you don't want to take them home, get a Regis office. Pay a little rent. Go there when you need it. When you leave, none of it's yours. It's just makes all the sense in the world, particularly in this economy now. Regis.
He makes it look easy, but it's not. Rush on the EIB network. Now, Albert Gore Jr. with one more way you can save the planet.
Instead of driving, try riding your bicycle to work and simplify your life. If only 1 in 5 Americans did this, we would save 196 billion barrels of oil every day. Ride a bike created from recycled metal from a manufacturer that uses at least 50% solar or wind power. Instead of air, try filling your tires with CO2 by blowing them up with your lips, like a balloon, trapping this dangerous greenhouse gas. Don't forget to reduce your use of harmful plastics by going seatless. You'll be surprised at the results of taking plastic out of your carbon footprint. Be sure and wear proper earth-friendly attire. Create your own hand-knitted shorts from discarded dryer lint, gathered from the dumpster behind your local washateria. Create nifty sandals from newspaper and rubber bands and twist ties and pieces of string that you find along.
You're over time. We need to cut.
We can't cut it anymore. I won't have time to tell them how to simplify their life.
So why has the economy been so bad during President Obama's first term? It's no accident. It's economic sabotage. The new blockbuster hit from Axelrod Productions. Even as President Obama was being sworn in,
I, Barack Obama, do silently swear that I will uphold the...
Republicans were starting to sabotage the economy.
Psst. Hey, tank the economy. Pass it down.
Then they misled the president to further destroy the American economy.
So, you think I shouldn't worry about unemployment? Just focus on Obamacare, raise taxes, go crazy with regulation, and run up $3 trillion in debt?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Well, okay.
And now, they're recklessly forcing the president to cut government spending or else.
But if I cut government spending, old people will die, and polar bears will be cold.
So what?
Economic sabotage. David Axelrod says, it's the best thing we could come up with. Anthony Weiner says, no comment. And George Soros says, it's unbelievable.
And stupid.
Economic sabotage. The biggest conspiracy to hit D.C. since the Bilderbergs and the Queen of England stole J. Edgar Hoover's brain. Economic sabotage in select theaters and art houses everywhere. Now a message from the John F. Kerry State.
Okay, folks, the current Democrat talking point is that Susan Rice was reading unclassified talking points approved by the intel community on television. Reading unclassified talking points. But isn't that the problem? Nobody's going after Rice, per se. Everybody wants to know who told her to lie. Because she was telling things that weren't true. This is not an attack on her. It is an attack on who told her to tell these lies. Anyway, hope you have a great weekend. We'll be back here on Monday and see you then.